We've got audio and we've got video. Perfect. Let us begin right this minute. Shabbat Shalom, my most esteemed friends, honorable judges, LVE tribe, as well as everyone else accompanying us on this rather precious, cloudy, which it was raining until a little bit ago, but now it has calmed down. Day of Shabbat from California, the US of A, on a new year 2026. Today being Tevet the 13th, which is the 10th month of the year 5994 from creation. It is the 3rd of January of the year 2026. We shall study yet another chapter of Wisdom and Discipline, part 48. First of all, I'd like to thank, before I forget, all of those who sent us comments, messages, cards, greetings, audios for the new year. So then actually we appreciate you a lot. We thank you wholeheartedly. All shows of care and of all the gifts that we've presented already. And now we have just a couple more of the gifts and all the things. Many, many, many thanks. And that you actually have a very, 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 I'm talking very blessed and prosperous 2026, which we're barely beginning. Today's the third day of this year 2026. I'd like to greet those who have had a birthday during this week, which are as follows: Darling Benjamin Cruz, Dominican Republic; Valeria Paola Marfetan, Argentina; Josue Matusalem Gutierrez Chaclan, Guatemala; Vanessa Arcia, Nicaragua; Heriberto Cañedo Robles, Mexico; Mariluz Paez, Colombia; Reina Emily Zambrano, Argentina; Kevin Enoch Gomez Lopez, Guatemala; Alma Rosa Carballo Garcia, Canada; Cecilia Lux, Guatemala; Alejandro Rafael Heyer, Brazil; Arnulfo Leonel Siloc, Guatemala; and Luis Ramon Mendoza Alcantara, the Dominican Republic. To each and every one of you, a great big hug on behalf of all the eternal truth, on behalf of all of us. May you have had an excellent time. Many congratulations and blessings, and that it may be one of the last birthdays that you have under this nefarious system under which we live. Very well. This, I believe, I'm almost sure that it is from Josias and Graciela. They sent us a jersey of Argentina. Here it is. An Argentinian jersey, very pretty. It's got a sun in the back, the sun of the Argentinian flag, enormous, spectacular. So then many, many thanks, Josias and Graciela. It's 3X. Oh, wait a minute. It's 3X. It is a bit bigger. I'm 2X, but just in case for the next time, I'm 2X. I'm not 3X yet. When I get to 3X, I'll let you know. But I am 2X. I think Josue gave me this. I think Leslie presented it. I think she presented it. No? Jose Hernandez gave us this Diego, spectacular, with that typical, this player who is the god of soccer, a complete genius, Diego Armando Maradona, with the number 10 jersey of the Argentinian selection, with this spectacular step. It's a Diego here, and there's this one. Jose gave me this. This was not this one. Oh, it was you? This was you. Hold on. Brian gave me this. I mean, some of the gifts, I guess, start to get confused. Brian gave me this. Right, we did present this. We did present this. I don't want to touch it. We did present it. This one is from the second album of Iron Maiden, Killer, spectacular. Excellent, spectacular. I loved it. So then, Eddie, come here. Right there. privileged place, with the Iron Maiden, a privileged place. So then, okay. Brian gave me this. Brian. There's one that I didn't present, which is this one. This right here. That you don't really see, but it's a little seal, the Boca sealed precious that Leslie gave me, which is a pin. You can't see it all that much. I mean, I can't put a pin here, but it's delicate. Anywhere it goes anywhere, or it goes on your tie, which I don't wear. Things like that. It could be here on the shirt. It's spectacular. I know you don't see it, but there it is. You can see it? Spectacular. Delicate. Fabulous. You see it? Okay, great. Tiny. It's exactly a little detail. Very well. Unfortunately, it would seem that the Lord Ubeda, Claudio Ubeda, is still the coach of Boca Juniors. I have no words because we should not have chosen him as a coach. But since he's there and he's the coach, we wish him the best. I hope he's a champion in everything, of course. It's not whom we would have chosen, but since he's there, we wish him the best. The best blessings for Claudio Ubela as a coach. We do wish him that. Clearly so, absolutely. Since he's there, better. This morning I found out about what happened, which all of you know, that Venezuela is being attacked by the U.S., capitalist country that gets where it's not his business, but it's the beast. They do whatever they want. You know, it's the law of the strongest to take all of the resources of whatever country, which was also being, they had a siege by them so that they wouldn't grow, and also being ruled by nefarious governments. I don't know him personally, but from what I see, just as a glimpse, it's a nefarious government of Maduro. So then he went there, they took him out. I hope that every one of the lineage of the Eternal Truth in Venezuela is okay, and all the Venezuelans. But with these beasts, you never know. So then, actually, we wish them the best. For your own good, it's not what we would have wished. We do not support for a government to go in there like macho man, so that supposedly to do away with the corruption, that they're the kings of corruption. But it's just to take the resources and all the rest. All the rest is a lie. So then, I'm so sorry for what's going on. A great big hug to all of our Venezuelan friends and the whole Venezuelan nation that is suffering this horrible invasion. I hope they're all okay. Without any other words, what the beast does is beastly things. And knowing that Yahweh directs it, right? So then, but we are still against all that. Very well. I'd like to remind you that we've got a free service for all those who need to understand why they're going through certain situations that are their ailments and things like that, and they want to know what the causes are. We have the free service of Angelina, which you have the information in the description of this video. There's no need for you to know how do I get in touch with Angelina. It's all in the description of the video. Also, those who want to donate are always asking me how can we donate. You can read the description of the video. So then, all those who need help of Angelina, you can write to Angelina, to Angelina's Facebook, Silva, and she will give you an appointment-free consult call to try to understand what your problems are, your conflicts. Whether you're from the Eternal Truth or not, doesn't matter. Angelina lends her help completely and absolutely free.
We have many listeners from Venezuela. Oh yeah, we've got way too many part of the Eternal Truth in Venezuela. Exactly, and I hope that every one of you, especially you, are absolutely well, but also I wish that the whole nation of Venezuela be okay, of course. Nothing is pretty about war and the use of weapons. It's all horror, just like that horror. So then, the only thing that I can hope for is that you're okay and that this whole horrible government can end already. Very well. I hope, and I'm glad that every one of you are okay as Leslie's telling me. Shema Israel, YHWH Eloheinu, YHWH Ekhad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our God, Yahweh is one. This is the base to understand all of the biblical prophecies and also the biblical doctrine, biblical teaching. It is the first key that opens up the first curtain that covers the scriptures, because the scriptures are concealed. Proverbs 25:2, it is the glory of Elohim to conceal the word, yet the glory of the king to search out the word. So then, the only ones that can actually comprehend the meaning of the scriptures, for God they are kings, for the and the first key which opens that is to understand that Yahweh, the Creator, is one sole person. Very well. Wisdom and Discipline, part 48. I hope you can see the whiteboard there. I left this up because I like it. It gives us the energy to continue to go on. It gives us a perspective of where we are, even if we have to wait for 6, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, doesn't matter. We're in the last years. That is for sure. Basically 6 years, 2032, but from 2032 and on out, we could even advance in 2032. I don't know, because Yahweh ended working on the 7th day. It didn't say on the first minute of the 7th day. It could be sometime that passed. There's nothing for sure. Nothing for sure. Everything is, in a sense, the Son doesn't even know the date nor the hour. He doesn't know. Why to start once again? Will it be this date? No. Since he doesn't know, he doesn't know. What he does are the times. And the times is that Yahweh stops acting on the 7th millennium. I remind you that you can all ask me questions of any nature. If you write to me privately to my Facebook, on my DMs, I'll answer questions. I love answering questions. It's part of wisdom and discipline. Today I have some questions that many have sent me. They're all from this week. All questions are all answered. These are all of the last 3 weeks, we could say. 2, 3 weeks, and this week some. And I invite you to continue to send me questions. It's not that it bothers me. I love them. And actually, when you ask a question, I don't answer just one person. I ask everyone, because everyone has these questions in their mind. And maybe they don't dare to ask, or they just leave them there without more importance. But they're important, and I notice, due to what the questions say, that there are subjects that are difficult to incorporate in what I've taught. They're difficult. Now you noticed why they're difficult. So then, invitational text. The purpose of the Proverbs is to teach wisdom and discipline, and to help the people to comprehend the intelligence of the wise. Proverbs 1:2, New Living Translation. First question. Let's see if I don't forget anything that I will have to present here. I don't think so. I believe that I'm not forgetting anything. First question. Hello, Christian. I have some questions. Do you believe that a single mother can be back in a relationship? Do you believe it's okay that the parents of a man that loves a single mother prohibit him from seeing her and can't have a relationship with her because she's already a mother? Blessings on my behalf for you, Christian, and for your family. The family term, I accept it, I understand it, but you know that we don't use it unless it escapes us, but we don't use it due to the etymology of the word, which means a group of starving slaves. Comes from the old Rome, where the clans of slaves were divided by different categories and different groups, and those were the families which would make up slaves, and actually they didn't eat well, that's why they were starving. That is what our family is. I understand that now it means something else, but the root, once you know the secret, it's kind of like it bothers you a lot, but it's okay. We're learning. Sometimes we forget. I use words that I know that they're wrong, but I use them either way, because it's our language until we have a better language. Very well.
So then it says, this is a personal
personal
question. I understand it is directly personal from somebody that is suffering this. Do you believe that a single mother can once again date someone? Yes, absolutely. As long as it does not affect the kids. Because already, when there are children or from an Old Testament, did I say Old Testament? From an old matrimony or a single mother, it could affect, depending on whom you marry, it could affect that child. Or you have to be very wise in choosing, because you're choosing someone that will influence entirely in the life of your son or daughter. So then, I don't know if you have a son or daughter, but when you have a son, there's less chance than problems than when you have a daughter. A daughter, for some reason, men, because it's not their natural love, that love that supposedly is of a stepfather, a putative father, like Armando would say. They use it in Argentina. They say it like that, but they laugh. So those stepfathers sometimes develop, and they start in their psychology, since it's not their genetic daughter, they start to see her like a woman as she develops, or even when she's a girl. That happens a lot. That's why you have to be very careful, just like that, very careful. When you marry, to check his intentions and always be alert to that, always at alert. There are people, men, that have been excellent stepfathers of those daughters. Let's use, girls, also boys, they have been as if they were a real father. But many cases, if not even saying most of them, there's been problems like that. We're still under that curse of Yahweh. Man is attracted to the other gender, and sometimes man is attracted to things that he should not be attracted to, and he's attracted and he goes past barriers and lives are ruined. But when a mother has daughters and she's looking for a husband, the kids come first. The kids, in this case, it's the kids come first, and then the wishes or the urge that mother wants to have a husband. But it has to be absolutely, she has to be absolutely wise to choose whom. And then it says, you think it's okay that the parents of a man that loves a single mother, they prohibit him? That's the problem with the parents. I mean, I don't even want to answer that. It's not that it's right or wrong. If I were a woman and there's a man that supposedly loves me and I have daughters, and a love that loves me and says, no, my parents don't love me, then fuck off to your mother's cunt. Just like that. Obviously, because a mother, that a man that loves a woman can tell his parents to go fuck off. So, I mean, what do you want me to say? No, it's wrong. No, it's wrong. That the parents of a mother that loves a man that loves a woman can oppose. I don't even to say it. I mean, it's a clown act. It's a clown act that a guy doesn't know how to set his parents in their place. He doesn't have balls. He's an idiot. He is being influenced. If a man that loves a woman starts to be influenced by the mother or the father, I, as a woman, would kick his ass and make him fly very far away from him. If they influence him now, they'll always influence him. In fact, when he marries me, he has to learn that a man leaves his father and mother. Believe it or not, if it doesn't work that way, it'll be a matrimony dominated by he that dominates man. And if the mother dominates the man, forget it. There's no advice that I can give you, because if already a mother dominates the son, dominates him, and also the father, then he won't accept an advice of mine, because he won't understand it. He won't understand it. He's already formed that way. Men and women have to learn that their parents have a place in the story of their life. They have to learn the more they can from them.
But once they marry, they serve like some sort of support, but it's not an influence that should influence in the matrimony. More than influence, a manipulation. The parents cannot manipulate, not, but in that matrimony has to develop as their own entity. They can ask for advice, and that's what I'm not against that. What I'm against is that the parents, without asking advice, that they're always butting in of how things should be, how their house should be, what house, what kind of food they should eat, how the grandchildren should be brought up. That's the problem. So then, to call them every day, they have to call them every day. Why didn't you call your mother? You have to call your mother every day. Those kinds of things. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable, period. So then if you ask me, is it okay that a man that loves me and his parents are against, no. Tell him to fuck off. He's no good. He is no good. In fact, you should not even worry about that situation. He should set his parents in their place, period. Okay, that answer has been answered. Another question. Christian. Very good day. Good morning. I love your preachings. I'd like to ask you about our Elohim. I'll read everything first and then I'll answer, because if I start to answer and halfway through, no, I'll read everything. I like the preaching about the subconscious, and I've started to implement it in a very intense way, to the point that I find myself speaking with myself constantly. When you say that our subconscious is connected with Elohim, sometimes out of custom or because I want to do it or other factors, it's as if my daughter asks me for a blessing. I answer her, God bless you, and I think about God. What is the correct way, if we want communication with the Elohim, to speak to his subconscious for him to speak to God, or the communication with God is broken? And all of the miracles that have taken place in the last 2,000 years are works only by faith. And can you also speak a little more about the subconscious, or how to speak to him in a more effective way? Many thanks, Christian Leslie. Very well. That is the whole question. Kind of mixed with many concepts, but it's a question. Now, it's okay for you to dialogue with yourself. This is the only way of speaking with the subconscious. To repeat things to yourself. If you have problems of accepting yourself, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and reinforce positive things. If you see yourself as ugly, you have to look at yourself and say, how beautiful am I? I am so pretty. I'm so pretty and beautiful on a permanent basis, until through the practice you start to see it. And when you start to see it and really believe it, you'll start to see yourself more beautiful, because everything is in the eye of the beholder. And if the eye of the beholder, which is yourself, you look at yourself in the mirror and you see something you don't like, then, and if you can't change it because you see something that you don't like and you want to change it, you start to work on it to change it. It could be maybe that you're egotistical, something like that. But there are things that, according to your own nature, is how you look. But if you start to look at yourself in the mirror and you start to tell yourself beautiful things, even if it's at the beginning they may seem fake, like in the English phrase, fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. It is a practice to start to change negative thoughts into positive ones. Speaking with yourself. So then you can also get a surgery. Yes, many surgeries also. Everything starts with the accepting thereof. So then I'll continue on with the point. When you say that the subconscious is connected with the Elohim, well, I don't remember having said that. Maybe I said that and I did not express myself correctly. I never said that my subconscious is connected with Elohim. What I have said is with the subconscious part, there seems that there's a unit with us, a unit and even with God, but not that my subconscious is communicating with Elohim and Elohim communicates with the subconscious. My subconscious, I have to communicate with my subconscious to know what Elohim said. Or if I want to ask Elohim something, I ask my subconscious so that no, I never said that. Ever. Ever. Never, ever. Elohim for me does not communicate with anybody. He has interrupted the communication with human beings. He could give a fuck about anything. No one, not anyone nor you. He should communicate with all of us to show his face, something that he does not do, but we do as idiots. We kneel down, we try to speak to him, and we speak to him, and to top it off, he teaches us that Elohim will answer you in secretly, that he won't answer you audibly. So then we believe that whole story, and we drag ourselves through the ground, asking to speak to Elohim when Elohim has to come dragging himself to ask us to forgive him and speak to us because he abandoned the communication with us. He does whatever the fuck he wants. He gives power to whomever he wants, but not us. So then we have to understand it once and for all that we do not need to speak with God. If you still need to speak with God, I understand. You have not understood the message of the eternal truth. The eternal truth. You don't need to communicate with God. God has to communicate with the eternal truth. It's simple as that. God has to fulfill the word with us, not us asking him to please remember that he wrote in a fucking book that he one day would. No, none of that. When he gives us something, he has to own practically on his knees to say, I've acted in a very wrong way. And he understands it correctly. I don't come here with greatness so that you worship me. No. I come to give you what I designed, which is for you to be the God of the earth. If that does not take place, if God expects us to be dogs that are asking him to give us the crumbs from the table, that'll never happen. Do we need to speak to God? We don't need to fuck to speak with God because all who needed to speak with God are dead. I want you to understand that clearly. If in your mind you start the need of wanting to speak with your God, think. In everyone that has talked with God and they died suffering, I want you to understand it, or else you are in the position of Noah, that God blesses you, that you get benefits from God, and that you even ask him, and he fulfills things for you, but the whole rest of humanity, which are billions, he doesn't fulfill them. He subjugates them and kills them, and he killed your whole family. So then we've got a Stockholm term that's enormous, just like that, enormous, because he has kidnapped us, crushing us, subjugated us, and he's killing us slowly, in slow fire. He's killing us, and we, to top it off, want to speak with him, and we want to speak well with him, and we wish for him to bless us. That cannot be. The eternal truth understands this clearly. We do not want a fucking blessing from God. I want you to understand that, every one of you. If you don't understand it, you're still going to be kneeling and asking, pleading in a Stockholm syndrome to your kidnapper to bless you. While he has killed your whole family, and he's still killing everywhere in the world. So then we're different. We are different. We don't pray to God. We can insult him and demand and tell him, let's see when you fulfill this, or else you can fuck off to your mother's cunt. But no blessing on our behalf from God. If we bless God, like we've done our whole lives, then we're even worse of sons of bitches, even worse, because we're blessing his work. We're blessing that he has given power to the beast. We're blessing that the beast subjugates the whole world. The whole deceit that humanity has suffered is God's, and we have yet, in some place in our fucking brain, we want to ask him for something, or ask him to bless us, or to give a blessing to our daughter, may God bless you. Don't ever say that fucking phrase, may God bless you. Never again, or else you're not a part of the eternal. You're not. How are you going to say, may God bless you? Look around you. Just look around you. Look at what God blesses. Look at what God blesses. How has God blessed us? By lying to us, subjugating us, giving us a whole enormous curtain of deceit to the whole world. The scriptures are concealed, and we have the toupee to say, may God bless you. I mean, we're worse than him if we say that. That's how the Christians are. That's how the Jews are. May God bless you. While he curses everyone else, while everyone in this second that are dying, suffering, being assassinated, being tortured, being violated, he could being able to stop them. He doesn't do a thing, and we to top it off, we said, may God bless you, my daughter. No, that's it. The only thing that we could say is, I bless you. I, as your dad, I bless you. The same thing, the same phrase is, I wish you the best for this year. We can't be saying, may God wish you. No. We are the ones who wish. We know the wish of God. We know it. Look around you. Look around you. Where are your grandparents, your great-grandparents? That is the wish of God. Everyone, not one, all of them. So then we're still using the phrase, may God bless you. It is an insult. It is an insult to the truth, to the eternal truth. It's an insult to yourself. We do not ever use, unless it's meant against, ironically, against an enemy to die, and I say, may God bless you. And you know that what I'm wishing is the blessing with which God has blessed us ever since Adam and Eve. That's the blessing he gave us. That is the blessing that he gave women that have subjugated, tortured by men. Men also tortured by other men and dead. Every time we say, may God bless you, is may God give you all of the curses he's got in his book and the ones that he has made up until now. May he kill you in pain. That is what it is when we say, may God bless you. We don't want any blessing from God. What we want from God is for him to come and to fulfill the word of leaving and fucking off, to give us his power and to fuck off. So then how could we still say, tell our daughter, may God bless you? We are cursing her. Think about your daughter, God blessed her, where is she? And if your grandmother is alive, she's dying. And if your grandmother is alive, think about your great-grandma, where is she? God blessed her. So then every time you bless your daughter with the word God, which is your creator, you are cursing her. If you don't understand that, 500 years will pass until somebody understands it clearly and says, God, we want you to leave. We don't want you to bless us. We've seen your blessing, what it is. We've seen whom you bless. Read Revelation 13, that the dragon, which is God, gave his blessing to whom? To the beast, not to you. Give his authority, not to you. His power, not to you. Dominion upon everyone, not to you, but to him, to the beast. So then, let us not ever, I once again say, may God bless you. The only ones that can bless are us. I wish the best for you. I wish the best for you. It's the same thing as to say, I bless you. Now, Trump, may God bless him. Trump, the beast, may God bless him. Netanyahu, great blessings from God upon him. Okay. So then it says, sometimes out of customary, because my daughter asked me for the blessing, what comes to mind is the Elohim, the Creator, and I say, may God bless you. And I think about God. What is the correct way if we want communication with him? We don't want communication with him. Why do you want communication with Elohim? Why would you want that? To thank him that he's your creator? To kneel and say, I worship you? That's why you want communication? I do want communication with him, but to tell him all the things that I've just told you and even more. But a lot more. And hurry up and give me what you should give me and let us go. Let's go. That's why I want communication with him. So then moving on, and he says, and what happens with the miracles. Miracles, what miracles? For me, the greatest miracle of all is that the beast has power. Another greater one is that we're all intelligent and we all live deceived, and humanity cannot awake. What a great miracle of God. He has such miracles. Brutal. Another miracle of God, the beast that had been killed resurrects. God arose her. What a son of a bitch. God resurrected her. Precisely. The beast that was not is now. Thanks to whom? Thanks to God. Of course, God resurrects her. He resurrected beasts. Those starving sons of bitches gave him a place to reign, the eighth reign. All those miracles or things that have happened in your life. What things? The ones that they have told you, don't believe about that. And have you seen miracles in your life? It was life itself. Or the chance, but don't believe for an instant that it was God making a little miracle, or else you'd be one more. You're gonna thank for the little miracles. You'd be like Noah, thank you for that little miracle, dog shit miracle, or extending this agony or life, because I'm gonna die either way. So then, thanks for torturing me a little more. What a beautiful miracle. Thanks because you gave it to me, not that son of a bitch. He was killed by a bullet or a car or a bomb of Trump in Venezuela. He died tortured, or because of pharmakeia. Thanks for not giving it to him, but to me. No, shove every miracle, God, up your ass, because the more we accept that God does miracles for us, even if He does do them, we are in the position of, no, thank you for saving me. And that other son of a bitch killed them all. Thank you for giving me the wisdom. Even the wisdom, I don't even thank God for that. You know why? Because in my interior, I would want for every human being to have this wisdom, to have the chance of listening to it. They don't listen to it because of Him. They don't hear it because He has placed a cover in everything. So then they don't hear. It's not because I don't want them to hear. No, I want for the whole world to listen. Someday they will, when Yahweh stops influencing. So then I thank Him. I want for you to be intelligent, or else you'll end up like any other religious group of fanatics that they think that the only blessed people by Yahweh, they're Noah. The whole world are Noah. Even if Yahweh has made a miracle in my life, I don't thank Him, because by me thanking Him is the great Stockholm syndrome, saying thank you for giving it to Him. I know that He's given it to me to end up killing me either way at the end. Thank you for extending my life a little bit while you're torturing me. You came and you caressed me, not the other, and I thank you so much. I know that you're the ones that are torturing me, bound here, dominated, violated, but you gave me a caress. I thank you. No, I don't thank for anything to God. If you don't understand that, you won't be a part of what the Messiah is. You won't be it, because you're thanking God already. You're thankful with God. Then all of the churches of the world are thanking God. Go there. Go there. I'll just tell you that if you still have not made the switch in your mind, of still in your little heart that's informed of a whole entire life of lies, you still thank God for anything, for life, some miracle, some protection. If you're still thanking God, then you're complete Noahs, all of you, because you thank Him for a caress. He killed the others, and you close the eyes of what the world lives to thank a small act that you consider was God's. If He saved your life, He gave you money, gave you a job, you're so thankful to God, while millions of people are dying, starving to death. And you could give a fuck because you feel you're benefited by God. That has to change in the Messiah. It has to end. If you don't understand it, then you're not part of the Messiah. I'll speak to you clearly. Wisdom comes from God. That is clear. Also, lies. So then, since both things come from God, I'm not going to thank Him for wisdom, even if it comes from Him. Even if it comes from him, I'll thank myself because I obtained it. But thanking him, that I'm being unfair with all of humanity. That he didn't give it to. If he gives me bread and not the rest, I can't thank him. Just imagine that you were all imprisoned and in some place that they torture you, and every now and then the boss comes along, the owner of the place, and gives you a piece of bread, and you look at them while they all look at you, and then you eat. Are you going to thank him? You're going to thank him for that piece of bread? You got to be a great son of a bitch to thank him for that piece of bread in front of the others. But of course, if you have the tremendous conflict of Stockholm, you will be thankful to your kidnapper. So then every act of benevolence to your creator, you'll be thankful to him. And that's how all the religions are that have never woken up. God is killing you. Ever since we're born, he's killing us. But while he's killing us, he tortures us, and he makes our life complete hell impossible. We have not suffered as much as others. Others have suffered a lot more than us. I don't know how much you have suffered, but you must have suffered something. So then when something good comes along, when you thank for it, you recognize that everything you've suffered is just, and that you deserve it, and that everyone else deserves that injustice of God. No, we don't thank for anything. We want him to free us. We want him to free us. Actually, do we want to communicate with him? No, he has to communicate with us. The one that broke the communication was him. The one that left was him. The one that has us incommunicated and enclosed are him. And under lies, he does that. The one that cursed us is him. The one that got upset was him. And we never did anything to him. We're incapable of doing anything to him. What human being can do anything to God? Or maybe you think like a Christian, but we killed his son. Don't say stupid shit. Don't say stupid shit. Because of the little fruit. But the fruit was of humans either way. You still upset because we stole his little fruit? So then the one that cut off the communication is him. The one that has to come pleading and says, I want to speak to you once again. I want you to forgive me and everything you've said is true is him. As long as he doesn't say that, then he can fuck off. Just like that. He can fuck off. Even if he kills us either way. If he kills us either way, why are you going to be pleading for one more day of life, 10 more years of life to give you a little miracles? And you're kneeling there, oh Lord, I love you. You saved my life. That's a lie, 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 that's a lie. It's all a lie. It's all a lie. He's our creator, that is clear. Can he kill us when he wants to? He's been doing that the whole time. What are you going to plead for? That he gives you one more day of torture? Nah, tell him come kill us today, or else he can fuck off. Just like that. That's what I have to answer you about that communication of God, and that you tell your daughter, God bless you. Don't insult her anymore. Stop insulting her. The only blessing that a daughter can receive is from the dad. My dear daughter, I bless you. I love you. I want for you to have prosperity and the best in the world. I want that. I want that. If I mention God, then he wants to kill you. Just like that, God wants to kill you. He wants to violate you, and he wants you to be filled with bitterness. That's what God wants for you, for your life. It's all contrary to what I want. These questions are so good. Don't think that I get upset. I love them. Maybe you see me like this, but it is my temperament of explaining things. They don't upset me, because I know that this question, for me, it's fabulous. It gets to the heart of every one of you, because I know that you have yet, in your interior, you still have God as something good, or God as something that you can still go to him. Under the least oppression, you can go to him, and if you want a blessing, you'll ask him of it. You're wrong. You are very wrong. Question number 3. I'll tell you before this question that I was cooking all night because I made 2 briskets. The brisket is the king of the barbecue in the U.S. Well, here in the U.S., a good brisket, it takes between 12 and 16 hours to cook it. on the grill. Not any grill. It's a slow fire grill, and that smokes. I started at 8 p.m. Good thing it does it on its own. At 8 p.m., I prepared everything with all, because at an American taste, it has mustard on the outside, and then salt, lots of salt, ultra fine, a little not so fine, and pepper, ground, thick ground, and you bathe it all around, and it is all bathed in it, and that is placed in the smoker, and you do it in slow fire, 225 Fahrenheit, be 110 Celsius, just calculating, like 120. That's how you do it little by little. And of course, at 8 p.m., it was all heated already. At 8 p.m., I added 2 briskets right there. A beast of briskets like that. They weighed like 5 or 6, 7, like 8 kilos each. 8 kilos each one. They 16 pounds each. Complete bestiality, something enormous. Both of them entered at 8, and today at 8 p.m. they were ready. But I had to go and check them at night, maybe with some water, humidify them, check their temperature. I have these temperature that I can see on my cell phone so that the temperature doesn't go up. It took 12 hours, and that temperature got to the temperature that it had to be there, 200 Fahrenheit within the brisket, and then right there you turn it off, you leave it at 150 degrees Fahrenheit, not Celsius, and then you wrap it up, either aluminum or a special paper. You leave it there because it has to rest. After the 12 hours, at least 1 hour, it has to rest. It is recommendable 4 more, because all of the juices that the brisket has, they solidify, and then it is left spectacular. That is what we shall eat today. They are impressive biscuits to eat today. A whole bunch of it. Well, I would invite every one of you, but it's not enough, and you don't all fit, and you're too far, so then that's why. But in your imagination, I invited you to eat a good brisket. Spectacular. It's all black on the outside. Because of so many hours, you're going to think that it's burnt. It's not burnt. The meat is so tender, you can break it open. It is a hard meat, but when the process ends, you don't even need a knife. You cut it just a piece, and you just cut it with a butter knife. That is what a brisket is. That is what I gave you, and what we shall eat today: brisket with mashed potatoes. That is what's in the menu. Farewell. Third question. It reads as follows. Hello, Christian. I hope you're okay. You're a good inspiration. I wanted to ask you if, please, you could make an example of how to think of everything that's good that happens to you during the day. But thanks to whom? That is the question. You start to answer this question with the other one. Thanks to whom? You'll see, before I knew you, and before making all your wisdom to go within, I would thank God. I would ask for you to give an example of how to be able to do it with your wisdom, taking into account everything you're teaching us. I'm sure that many of us that follow you at home, you can also help us a lot. Well, that's what, that follow you at home, you can help us a lot. And by the way, you can help us a lot. Thank you, by the way. A great big hug for you and your beautiful family. Farewell. We go back quickly with everything that I've said. It's already answered, but if we're going to thank God, before thanking for something, we have to blame Him for everything, of every single thing that has taken place in the world. Once you blame Him for everything, if you still have some time, then say, oh, well, then thank you for giving me this, but tell you the truth, you don't deserve it.
Before thanking for something, blame him for everything he's done. From Adam and Eve up until now, everything, everything. Don't forget about anything. Then thank for something. But first, blame him. First, blame him. It's like I've told you, not even do I thank him for the wisdom, because he still keeps all of humanity in lies. He keeps it there in lies. When we break away, like the scripture says, the cover of lies that covers all of the nations, like Isaiah says, which God won't do it, but the Messiah will, the new God of the earth, the people will be able to see. Now, why do the people not see? Because of he's to blame. I want you to bear that in mind and have that present. If the people do not see, it is because of him. It is his fault. No one else is to blame. Not because people are stupid. Not because people are evil. That's what I used to think before. Of course, because I was Christian, I used to think, what a son of a bitch. They don't want to listen. They're deaf. They're like Noah. No, let the second coming of Christ come and take them all. That's not the way it is. It isn't so. Even if in the very face when Yahweh came to the earth, he says, I speak to you in parables because I don't want you to understand, because if you understand and see, I'd have to forgive you, and I don't want to. Tell the truth, I don't want to. So then what do? I blind you, I make you deaf, and stupidify you, so you don't understand things. He tells it to you in your face, but that is applied clearly in the world today. So then now, the people that do not understand the truth, it is because of their fault or because of God the Creator. The judgment we've done 100% blames God the Creator, because those people that don't want to see, that don't want to listen, and don't want to understand, it is because the fault of the God Creator. When you remove the cover that surrounds the truth, they're going to understand and become emotional and understand it and say, why didn't I understand it before? Because there was a terrible God between them and God. What is the cover of this world? It is called God. So then, how are we going to thank anything of him? Everything that is good of life, thank yourself. Thank someone that gave it to you, I don't know, someone of your lineage that proposed it to you. Thank, if you have a good job, the one that gave you the job. Thank your boss. Thank you're learning things. Thank the one that you learned it from, whom you heard it from. Thank that, but not God. Not God. There's nothing to thank God. Nothing. You have to only blame God, nothing else. If we are not like that, God will not give us anything. It's not that I'm upset with God, and now I'm so upset. No. None whatsoever. I understand the mechanics of what God wants of the Messiah. But what God wants of the Messiah is for us to abhor all of the acts of God. It is so clear. That's why no one else can be a Messiah, someone that opposes God. Because if we do not oppose God, God will say, no, I cannot give him anything. Because he's thinking me, seeing what I'm doing, he's unfair. The only justice, the only expression when God says, you have loved justice and abhorred wickedness, that is why God has anointed thee, your God. What he's saying is as follows: if you had not hated me because I'm the God of injustice, and if you had not placed me in that place, I would not let you sit in the throne. That is why it's so fundamental that you understand that God will not give power to anyone that supports him, not even this. Because he's going to say, nah, then you didn't understand. Then you didn't understand. You have to be all the contrary to what I demonstrated in these 6,000 years. All the contrary. Or else you're a God of injustice. So then, it is very fundamental to understand what I tell you. It's not that I'm upset with God. No, it's not that. It's because I understood whom God will give the power to. He will not give it to one that comes and
glazes him, not one that comes to thank him for things. He says, nah, you haven't understood a thing. Look at what I've done in the world. In fact, I did it so you understand that a new God has come. I'm not criticizing God because I could care less what he does. I understand clearly who God is, what is the role that he's playing in the creation, and what he expects of the Messiah. He wants an entire antagonism for him, just like that. So complete to him. That's why all the religions that worship God, that love God, that worship God, they don't go anywhere, and they're all going to say only lies has been the inheritance of our fathers. That's the way it is. It's as simple as that. The Messiah is complete antagonism to what God has done on this earth. So that if we say, may God bless you, thank you, God, for what you gave me, thank you for the day, thank you, God, because of this opportunity, thank you, God, for the food, thank you because you take care of me. No, none of that. That is contrary precisely to what God wants. The Bible is so concealed that it makes you believe the contrary. That you have to thank him for everything, like a good manual of the complex, what do you call it, of the Stockholm Syndrome. The good is a good Stockholm manual. So then all the Stockholm people say, read this and say, what do we have to do? We have to kneel down. What else do we have to say? Thank God. So then they follow the manual of Stockholm. But we don't follow the Stockholm manual. We transcend. We transcend the manual of Stockholm, and this is the manual of Stockholm. This is it. So then God says, let's see, who is ready to be God of the earth? All who followed me and who worship me are no good. What? They're no good. Then who is? Those who became my enemies, who fought against God and defeated him. Those are. Okay. Question number 4. Well, I mean, it's so... This one is... I'll answer it. Let's go to number 5 first. Question number 5. This one's too easy. Most appreciated Christian, my greatest wishes of well-being for you and your lineage. Listening to the subject of last Shabbat, meditating in the message, I got a question about that a disciple is not greater than his master, and that the one that blesses is the greater. You know how was the correct way in how a blessing should be done, because I don't remember that the Bible explains how great it is to give a blessing. Is it value just like the firstborn? Well, you can't really understand the question, but I'll give you the answer, which will cover what is asked. The firstborn primogeniture is a very high blessing, but it's a specific one, which is the handing over of from the father towards the son, the primogeniture, the greater amount of assets that he had, and to be the leader of the family, of the lineage, better said, of the tribe, lineage, tribe, or whatever. So then that was the primogeniture. You give him the best of the best to one alone of his sons, to the firstborn. They don't do that anymore. That it's a complete injustice. Obviously, there's no. It makes no sense. Just like that, it makes no sense. Things of the Bible, because the primogeniture is no longer. It's so stupid shit. Now, I take it like a type of blessing. It was a blessing. He would give it. The father would give it to one of his sons. Now they ask me here, what is the correct way of a blessing? A blessing, there's no correct way. A blessing is to say, I wish you the best. Benediction is a well-said word, something that a person or something that they do well, that they progress, that they are prosperous, that things turn out like that person wishes the one that which you are blessing. You can bless him with money. You can bless him with gifts. All the things that give us are blessings. Because it's not just that the greater blesses the younger. It is in rendering power, riches,
riches with some special title, those types of things. The greater blesses the lesser, but the lesser also blesses the greater because the greater gives and gives his time, help. Like the scripture also says that whomever gives a glass of water to one of the smallest disciples, that's a blessing. So then a blessing is whatever action that wishes something good towards the person. It could be a gift. It could be an oral blessing written. It could be gifts. It could be money. It could be time of yours. Time. It could be companionship. It could be advice. It could be so many things. It's all blessed. All that are all blessings. So then we can't say the appropriate way of giving a blessing. No, 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 no. A blessing is everything. Any wish or act towards someone for them to prosper, for their well-being is a blessing. Okay? Having answered that question, we'll just go to the last one, which is number 4. Reads as follows. Hello, Christian. Good evening. I have a doubt about the study of the Shabbat. If we start from the base that we're the Mashiach, how should we really handle ourselves with the subject about sex while dating? In other words, past saying that it's prohibited, I would like for us to speak about how someone should act with our identity in the physical part. Sexual relations in dating. How do we have the dating to the height of what we are? That is the question. And the answer is complex. Answer is complex, and the answer that I will give is my opinion. First of all, to get to marriage virgin could be a mistake, or directly is a mistake. This is entirely different to what you have heard, religiously speaking, or have heard in the culture, because I could give a fuck about culture and religion, the other egg. So then we, as human beings in this message, in this time, it's not for 100 years ago, it was not a message, a messianic message of the Messiah. It was not. There was no Messiah. The Messiah did not exist 100 years ago. The Messiah came now. So then this message cannot be applied in any time of history of Earth except for now. So then the question is not, I'll answer it now. Let's begin with the basics and elementals of the answer. Every time we act, whether in every aspect of our life and even sexually, it has to be with wisdom. Always. Wisdom and not ignorance. Wisdom and not ignorance. What is wisdom? Wisdom is to know. It is to know. It is to know. Now, when one is a virgin, what is the word to be a virgin is comparable to? I want for you, if you're going to answer whatever, try to understand what I'm trying to say. To be a virgin, is it comparable to wisdom or to ignorance? What is it to be a virgin? To be a virgin, the word virgin. What is it more likened to, wisdom or ignorance? Correctly, because if you're a virgin in a subject, it means that you're an ignorant. If they call somebody to cook in a restaurant, they say, do you have an experience? No. You've never cooked? No. What are you coming to cook here for then? So then we could say that cook, or that wants to be a cook, is a wise person or a virgin. And every time you hear the word virgin, it means non-wise in a specific point. That doesn't have knowledge of the subject. Would you agree? I understand it's difficult to associate, and wisdom is all the contrary. Wisdom, it means that you already know from every aspect about the subject. I can't say that I'm wise in motors if I've never touched the motor. I'm going to put my hand in there, it's going to cut my hand off, I'm not going to know how to do anything and not fix anything. But if I'm wise, I know where to touch, I know what to adjust, for it to work, well. If that's what it is to be wise in mechanics, to be a virgin in mechanics, nobody wants a virgin. I'm going to help your car. How much do you know? I've never helped. I never fixed any car. Do you know? No, I'm a virgin. In this subject, do you give him the car to fix it? No, you don't tell him to do anything. The same in every aspect. There is not one sole aspect that the word virgin is good, except for in sex. You're going to say no because virgin oil. Yeah, there's the word virgin is misused because that oil is not virgin. Well, the other oil is violated? It doesn't exist. No such thing as virgin oil. It was made up by these sons of bitches. It is first press, and then what is left is to repress it to get some more out. But the first press, that is what they call virgin. And extra virgin, what does it mean to be extra virgin? Extra virgin or a virgin. Kind of virgin, of 1/4 of a virgin, non-virgin. And then we move on to whore, exactly. Just like that, crossing an abyss. So what does it mean to be a virgin or not? The only famous virgin is the Virgin Mary. What in religion they have placed us that the ideal of purity is a virgin woman. It's purity. A bride in white means virginity, that she has no blemish. It's all the symbols that they have painted for us since we were little. That is what purity is. But purity, sexual purity, does it have anything to do with justice? Can we say that sexual purity is equivalent to justice? Can we say that or not? If that we can. But it's got nothing to do with the fact. You can be very sexually pure and be an actual son of a bitch, unjust, an assassin even, a scammer with envy, evil, a serial killer, and be a virgin. Could that be true or not? So then virginity with justice is not compatible, is not a synonym. It's not a synonym. Now, can you have a person with lots of sexual wisdom and sexual activity and the most righteous of all the virgin people that exist? Can that happen or not? Of course. Who saved Jericho? What the Bible says? Rahab the whore. And they call it Rahab the whore. Was that her last name? No. They call her Rahab the whore. That is what the Bible is like. And it helps us to understand that she was the most righteous. It was the last name. You see how the professions, there's the Smiths, you know, but her profession was a prostitute. Right, of course, what I'm trying to show is that she was the most righteous of the city, the only one that was saved. Do we agree with that? So then virginity with justice, there you see that it has nothing to do. Why does the Messiah say something which I'm saying directly, but he said it, nobody understands it. He looked at his disciples and he said, prostitutes and the... He didn't say thieves, but it's what they were. They were the thieves. They were called the tax collectors, that people would have them as thieves. They go in first into the kingdom of heaven. So then those are words. It's those statements that are so provocative, so triggering. Those declarations that leave the world with their mouths open. But then all of a sudden they were asking him, who's the most righteous? That one, the one that was praying and everything. I, my Lord, the one that cries. I'm not like this other son of a bitch here praying. And the publican is there, pardon me, I'm such a sinner. Who's the most righteous? He says the prostitutes and the publicans are the ones that go into heaven first, way before you. What do you mean? Yeah, the Messiah says it. Now I tell you. Because in that time, both as it was back then, now, it evolves. The mentality of this generation. Not yours, maybe, until you evolve. That sex with purity and justice has nothing to do. Absolutely nothing in common. So then, I was brought up in a family because it was a group starving, very much starving, enslaved to religion. I was brought up in a family that was very religious, where virginity was practically gold that a woman could achieve in value. Once she lost that value, then the woman was no good anymore. Still some value, but already very devalued, absolutely devalued, because she was no longer a virgin. We've talked about this many times, but if we maintain that type of attitude, we cannot be the new God of the earth. Sex with justice has absolutely nothing to do. The prostitutes go first into the kingdom of heaven, in the sense that you understand. Don't think that it's all a bunch of prostitutes. No, it's a statement that says precisely it's got nothing to do with what you're saying. Not because you're ultra religious does it mean that you're the purest before God, not in the very least. That is what it's saying in that statement. I'm not saying that all the thrown to the wall, a bunch of prostitutes. No, that's not what I'm saying. You have to understand what wisdom is that is expressed. So then, first of all, wisdom and not ignorance. What am I referring to? When a person, you, children, not children, but the youth, are willing to start dating someone. If you're willing to start dating someone, then you're willing to marry, and you're willing to marry quickly, or else strictly don't start dating. I've taught you that many times. We're not here in life for us to going 4 or 5 years dating to see how it goes, and we're dating. Some could have more privileges than those that are not dating. No, that's not a wise attitude. If that's how you're going to be doing your dating, then don't start dating. If you start dating, it is to know in a very little time parts that you did not know of the person that you are pretending or expecting to marry, but to marry, or else don't start dating. Now, if that is already decided that both parts, that's why I do not accept dating in the youth that are way too young. I don't accept it unless they want to get married. I think that is wrong. You can do whatever you want, but in wisdom, for me, they have to develop themselves, these youth, in order for them to be ready for dating. And once they're ready for dating, it's because they're ready to get married. I don't accept dating of 15 years old and 14 years old, and we're just dating. No. That is not wise. That's stupid. Do whatever you want. But I'm saying that is not wisdom. Wisdom is when you can already get married, and then you can start dating, which is right before marriage. Now, once you're dating and you're already understanding each other and getting along, in my point of view, taking out all the stupid theories of all the religious and what morality is that they taught you basically. For me, it is fundamental for them to have sex. For what reason? Because many couples have made a mistake because they didn't have sex before. For what reason? Because, there was a little noise there. It's Mikal. Oh no, it's Mikal. Many couples have been surprised later due to the incompatibility that they have. They're not compatible. The man is an idiot. He's never going to learn. He doesn't know. Or the woman doesn't want. Or there's no chemistry. Because there's lots of chemistry between humans, from friends, maybe kisses, but then to live in a bed, maybe there's no chemistry. Maybe there's no chemistry. And there's something that they might not like. And the only way to know that is in the practice. There's no other way. If you're going to buy a weapon that you're going to shoot, it'd be good that you test it out before you buy it. Maybe you don't like it. Maybe it kicks back a lot and you wanted to buy a weapon for self-defense. Every time you fire it, it hurts your arm, or it just shoots upwards, or you bought a shotgun. You thought it was going to be like a 22, but every time it just shoots backwards. You don't even know how to use it. Or you want to buy a weapon for self-defense that you can use it, you and your wife, and you buy, I don't know, a 44 or 50 millimeter. When you fire it, it throws your hands back, and you expect your wife to use it, so you have to test and learn, practice, and know the subject. I do not support under any aspect that under the original purity that they taught you and taught me, that it's the most beautiful thing, the most romantic, that the prince, the blue prince, and the princess, they come in white and they get to the honeymoon never having had an orgasm, that nobody has touched them, that they don't know anything. They look at each other sweetly. They don't even know what to do or how to do it. That, I don't believe it. That's been a long time ago. Or else don't get married. Or else don't get married. I no longer believe that in matrimony you have to arrive without knowing anything, because that is destructive. By experience, I've seen marriages after marriages that they didn't know what they were getting into and they already got married. Now, in this time, notice, they no longer get married as much, and one of the reasons is that they don't have to get married to have sex, for example. No, they have sex, women have sex, and they're no, then I want to get married to have sex, because that would be the worst of the reasons to get married in order to have sex. I'm getting married because I'm hot. Since I can't do anything, if I don't get married, then I'll get married. What a disaster. I mean, it's the recipe for disaster. The recipe for disaster. No one should ever get virgin to the marriage. That's a very triggering statement, just like saying the horse or the first ones to get to heaven. I like those types of statements. Why? Because they're true. They make you think. And they make you think. How is it that our way of being has changed so much? Because we've grown to a different level. We no longer see things religiously. For us, I'm going to change the words of Paul. I think Paul says, yet for us, there's no longer a Jew or Greek. He says that, right? Okay, I'll change the words. For us, there's no longer a whore or a womanizer. We're all one. That's the way it is. I'll tell the truth, or else you would not understand, or else you still have the mentality of the old God. Do you know how sex taught by religions, and also not by religion but the culture, it has destroyed women? Millions and billions of women have suffered, being denigrated, pain, and also death due to sex. So then when you stop to think, everything that you have to fix, not your life, because it's not about you. It's not all about you. Because what happened to Noah, I've seen that you're the only righteous in the whole world. Whom did you see righteous? You, Noah. You're the only righteous. You're the righteous one, you son of a bitch. You're an ass. Oh, and Noah was in the clouds. Oh, I'm the only one. Yes, you're the only one, Noah. You're my son. Oh, what do I have to do? Build an ark. We're going to kill everyone. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's about everyone. And the women that have died, suffered, lived a horrible life due to sex, and even the decisions they've made and were denigrated. You're not going to fix it by thinking a little bit about, no, sex, well, we should get virgin to matrimony. No, you're not good to be out with you. Next one, you have to be virgin to matrimony? Well, I think that it'd be a good idea. And then out with you, son of a bitch, you! However they come. Same thing, but since God, as God, we have to fix and convince those women that have been denigrated that they weren't dog shit, that they were so valuable or even more valuable than those that denigrated them. But in order to do that, we have to today have a mind of seeing those women that have already passed and saying you were valuable. No, because I was a prostitute, because I was denigrated. No. Who denigrated you? We're gonna teach the guy that he's the one, the denigrated one, not you, or else you don't have that mind. A mind that saves the people, that reintegrates the integrity of the people, so then you cannot be a god. You can't. Just like that, you can't. So then, the only thing that I teach you is wisdom. Wisdom indicates that you have the responsibility that if you start dating, it is to get married. And if you're already dating and you're planning to get married, that it's better that you test how the gun enters into the sheath. If you buy a sheath for your gun and the gun does not fit or it is loose for it, it won't be good. You're going to have to buy another sheath. So then you're going to have to test and practice what you will do during a long time. You can't present yourself at a restaurant and say, I'm come to cook here like the chef and I've never cooked before. No, you start to practice, but with wisdom. If that practice takes for you to leave a woman pregnant, then you're an idiot, not a wise person. You're an idiot. Of course. Then you have to take charge. Even if you take charge, you're still an idiot. Because precisely sex, by leaving a girl pregnant or that she is left pregnant, they go hand in hand. So then the wisdom knows clearly what it is to have sex without there being a chance whatsoever of pregnancy. So then not just man, because it doesn't depend on of man, but also of women. I'm speaking to both men and women. So then women could have sex? Yes. Can men have sex? Yes. But you know that you're playing with a weapon that could shoot. There can be a shot, like with a weapon. Can you have a weapon? Yes, but you should know how to use it. I don't want any virgins with a weapon, because a virgin with weapons, first thing is that he puts his finger on the trigger, points everywhere, doesn't even know how to. No, you need lots of training in order to handle a weapon securely, and for me to feel sure next to a guy that has a weapon, that he knows how to use it, when to use it, and how to use it. So then, sex can shoot lethally. It ruins your life. It can ruin a woman's life. When she didn't want to have a son, she has a son. It ruins her life, and it also ruins a man's life. So then, if I am giving you advice of wisdom, wisdom begins with knowing. That's the wisdom, knowing. So then, the beginning of sex is wisdom. In order to practice sex, you have to be sure that the least thing you want is an embarrassing situation such as a pregnancy. It's not about sin, but it's a problem about, and I'm also speaking to the married couples, because they get married and they're left pregnant when they didn't want to. They're left pregnant. I'm speaking to other couples, whomever that practices sex, married or not married. Anyone that practices sex, they have to, before practicing sex, they have to train of how not to shoot non-wanted shots. Then you can practice sex. Then you can give him a weapon to shoot. Once you're sure that you're not going to shoot next door or there or by chance or anyone that is in the sheath. No. So then, this is all wisdom. Here, there is no sin in sex. I want you to understand that there's no sin in sex. What there is mistakes that could embitter your life greatly. I'm talking about embittering your life, ruining your life.
The same thing. I've compared it with a weapon because it goes hand in hand. Because the weapon has lots of power, and even if you wish and you can learn to shoot and be good shooting, one sole mistake, it only takes one sole mistake for you to end up in jail or to cry your entire life. Because you ruined something, you killed something, you hurt someone that can't be repaired. Just one mistake, one shot. It takes for you to ruin your whole existence. Now, due to that mistake, I have to tell you, don't handle weapons. No, I say train you in weapons. I've always told you that. Everyone should be an expert in weapons. Train yourself with weapons so that you're not a virgin with weapons. Train yourself with weapons so that if you handle a weapon, you can handle it securely, that you're secure and that the people around you are secure. Sex is the same thing. There's no problem with sex. The problem is when sex misused leaves a person pregnant. No more than that. No more than that. So then, the question was, it goes way past that to say that it's prohibited. No, it's not prohibited. It's not prohibited. For me, what's prohibited is to get virgin to the matrimony. That is what's prohibited, because that is what it is to be a virgin, to be Virgo. You see how in the jargon, when you're useless in something, they say he's a Virgo. Why do they say that? Because you're an idiot. Playing soccer, if he did it, he's a Virgo. Why Virgo? He has no experience. So then the word Virgo, virgin, is bad in every aspect in life. In every aspect of life. The word virgin with ignorance is the same word, ignorance, sexual ignorance. Virginity is sexual ignorance. Sexual wisdom is lots of practice and experience. That is what sexual wisdom is. You're a wise person then. Or an ignorant person. So then that is prohibited? No. Take that religion off of you. So then how was the question? If we start with the base that we're the Mashiach, how should we handle sex in dating? Well, I've already said it. To say that it's prohibited, no, it's not prohibited. I would like for us to speak about how someone with our identity should act. I've just explained it. Dating with sex, how do we take the dating to the height of what we are? It is not sex, but actually dating, but with the end goal to marry. It points for marriage. That is what it is to the height. If you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend and you're not planning to get married, or else it's just a waste of time just for fun, that is what it is, not to be to the height. You should not be dating that way. That is what it is to play with the people. I disagree with that. Because if one wants to have a girlfriend, but he doesn't really like her, but since he's alone, he starts to practice with her. But then you leave her, and then you go with someone else. That is what it is to play with the people, because there was never seriousness in the situation. I place my whole teaching in that you look for a girlfriend or a boyfriend with the exclusive objective of marriage, which is the step right before marriage. And as the step right before marriage, it's part of seeing whether it works or not. Part of that is sex as a base to see if there will be any chemistry. I've known couples that have gotten married, virgins, and then afterwards, according to women have told us, it was just a violation after a violation because the husband didn't know anything else than just to take it out and put it in. And that formed tremendous trauma in women until they got divorced, and they had to go to psychologists because the husband didn't know any other. He just thought that's the way you had sex. We're talking about virgins.
And virgins, sometimes they're virgins in their mind in every aspect. So then that they did not communicate anything to anyone because they thought that it was normal. You know how many cases I know like that? Not one, but way too many. Way too many, because I was brought up precisely in a commentary. Well, in a place where I knew all the secrets of the church, to top it off, because my dad would tell my mom, I would hear, people would come to speak with my dad, and I would listen. And if I didn't listen, my dad would tell me, or my mom would tell me, because it was part. There's lots of communication in our family. A group of starving slaves, lots of conversation in the group of starving slaves. There was lots of communication, so they told us on a permanent basis, told me and my sisters, things that would take place of people. Impressive things. I disagree of arriving with your eyes closed to the marriage, virgin, and that the dream of the blueprints does not exist. Come back down to earth. Virgin does not work here. Wisdom works here. Experience works. A virgin person in business, they fuck them up. They devour them. They devour them. A person, in order to be wise, they have to be brought up in the worst of the terrains. In the worst of the terrains. In order to have experience. That's the way it is. So then, I hope you have understood my answer. It is all about wisdom, and nothing else. And we don't do things like religion does. I'm not looking for advice of how sexuality is in the Bible, obviously not. But rather I look for what human nature is. In human nature, you cannot contain it with religiousness, saying this is a sin, this is not a sin, and then they ruin your whole life. And then you see the result that women have been so denigrated because of having had sex. Because man, thanks to God, and I'm saying it in the worst sense of the word, not like thanks to God, but like thanks to God, man denigrated women, belittled her, and brought her down to treating her like a prostitute, because he wanted, even in religions which are Muslim and all the rest, they do not accept the person that's not a virgin. Once they're not a virgin, then women have lost value, thanks to God. That is thanks to God. They would lose complete value. She's not a virgin anymore. All the value was in the virginity of the woman, and then she would lose it. How's she going to lose it? How is a woman, women and men are not because of the virginity that they're worth anything. It is because of the person they are, not the virginity. It has no value whatsoever, virginity. None whatsoever. Zero. In fact, it takes value away. I'm speaking to adult people. Of course, I'm not talking about really young youths. I'm talking about adult people. Adult people. But virginity, it takes value away because you have no experience, not even about our nature. Not just that, but the problems that we know that are brought through the conflicts. The conflicts are tremendous, the sexual conflicts, tremendous. Due to guilt, because of not doing this and that, not achieving this, because of not being satisfied, because of thinking that you have to do this and that, and you don't do it. Sexual conflicts of all kinds. Women, men and women. Tremendous in Germanic medicine. Due to not having a completely open sexuality without any guilt. Of course, it is difficult because we have been programmed to guilt. To put guilt upon someone. Are you a virgin? You're good. You're pure. You're not a virgin? You're not a virgin, then you're a whore. It's not that you go from being a virgin, and if you have 100, then you're a whore. No, you're not a virgin, you're already a whore. Right away. You go from virgin and whore. There's only two positions in the dial. That is what religion is, religion and culture. Tell you the truth, it is difficult for us to come out of that. And I'm not even sure if all will be able to come out of that from some of you. Because you have to open up the mind so much. Like, what's the name? Morpheus told Neo, open your mind. He said, Neo, you have to open your mind, free your mind. You have to free your mind. You have to free your mind. Free your mind that virginity is good. No. You have to free your mind that virginity is purity. No. You have to free your mind that virginity is what God wants. No. You have to free your mind that virginity or sex is sex, that sex is a sin, denigrating the lower passions. It's a lie. It's all a lie. If it weren't because of those base passions, we would not have multiplied ourselves. No one would be alive. What high passions multiply us? No one. Those passions, the ones that they call the base ones, it is things that you exist. Thanks to a base passion is that I exist. Good thing that my dad and my mom had a very low passion that evening, that night. I don't know when it was, but good thing they had a low passion called base due to religion and culture. Those base passions, denigrating, no, the base and denigrating passions are the ones of saying this woman is a whore or she's no good because she's been used. No, that is a base passion. That is what it is to be base morally. That is what it is to be base. And women do not lose any value. In my point of view, it augments it. No matter what you think, you could suck a ball because you have yet freed your mind otherwise. And if you don't like it, you will not be able nor judge nor help all of humanity, because all of humanity in your mind will be a prostitute completely. Under my mind, absolutely not. Very well. So then, I've answered all those questions already. All the questions. I'm sure that many of you have those types of questions. Many of you. Many. There's so much to talk about sex. For example, who is a wiser couple? One that has sex when they're dating and they don't get pregnant? Or a couple that just got married and because they didn't know, they got pregnant. But they're legally married and they were both virgins into the marriage. And everything that eat everything, just so you understand it, that fuck every day, that have very, very high, fiery and good relationships during dating, and those that were fighting to matrimony without laying together, and once they do it, they get pregnant. Who of the two couples is wiser? Who is it? But of course, the first one. I mean, I just make you think. If you don't listen to me, you would say, no, the one that got virgin to marriage. I mean, it's a castle of a dream. It's what I would have wished, but I can't. A girl says, I can't because I made a mistake. No, you didn't make a mistake. You didn't make a mistake. In fact, it's good that you have experiences. Or else, what the fuck are you going to know about experiences? Very well. Everyone, draw your own conclusions of everything. But in order to be God, you have to understand this clearly, and I'm talking very clearly, and I'm telling you seriously, not just anyone can be God. I tell it to you right now. If you have some sort of point of condemnation, you will condemn all of the women. I'll tell it to you right now. In some point, you're condemning, and in your mind, you do not accept this. If they gave you power right now, you would not accept women that have had sex with 20 men. You wouldn't accept them. You would say, no. And you would be disgusted because your mind, it's still enclosed in the religious and cultural paradigm that Yahweh had placed on this earth for 6,000 years, and you didn't understand that the only righteous one of Jericho and that saved his family was a prostitute. And that the Messiah says the prostitutes and the tax collectors go first into the kingdom of heaven. You didn't understand it yet. Because in order to be a Messiah, you have to say those phrases in the sense of what it means. You have to say those phrases. This humanity is prostituted. It's not a woman. It's all of humanity is prostituted. You have to understand it. Proverbs 1. Motive of the Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. In order to understand wisdom and doctrine, in order to know prudent reasons, so as to receive advice, which is discipline, of prudence, justice, judgment, and equity, to give intelligence to the simple and intelligence to the youth, which is what I've just presented in the last 1 hour and 43 minutes of today. In order to give intelligence to the simple and intelligence to the youth, the wise man shall hear, and his knowledge shall grow, and the understood shall acquire advice. In order to understand proverbs and declarations, words of the wise, and their deep sayings, the beginning of wisdom is the fear of Yahweh. How difficult to understand this text. But it's easy, it's simple. Because wisdom comes from Yahweh. It comes from Yahweh. Like also wickedness. But we can soften our mind a bit by understanding how the writer of Proverbs says in Proverbs 8:13, the fear of Yahweh is to abhor evil. So then, the beginning of wisdom, we could replace it, the fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom, is to abhor evil. And then is the beginning of the very beginning of wisdom. Wisdom, the good wisdom. I understand that there's wisdom to do evil, but of course. But the beginning of wisdom in the good sense of the word, things which are positive and good, is to abhor evil. Eight. Hear, my son, the instruction, the word is musar, and the word is discipline. Hear, my son, the discipline of your father, and despise not the direction of your mother. I interpret this, aside from everything I've said already in what we understood last Shabbat, that the Messiah is composed by a male and a female part. And notice that I had also forgotten, and I remembered it, because they wrote it in the comments. I think it was Miguel. It's not that I forgot, but rather that it's so many things that we have in our mind. The word Yahweh, Yod, Hey, Bav, Hey. Actually, if you turn it around, it means he and she. I've explained that already. You remember that, right? So the new God of the earth is composed, notice, by he and she, which is the male part and the female part. That's why I tell you that. Yahweh doesn't mean anything. Yahweh is I am that I am. I am he and she. And it could be Yahweh the Creator or the new Yahweh. The new God will not be called Yahweh, obviously, because he'll be called whatever he wants to call himself, the new government. But what's interesting is that the word Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey, being read backwards than the order that is given in Hebrew, it clearly means in Hebrew, he, she. He, she. It's impressive. I had forgotten this. He, she means Yahweh. He, she. It's like saying he, she. He, she. Just like that. He, she. Like Elohim. He, she. It's he, she. It's he, she. He and she. He and she is made up by the husband and the wife, which is what we talked about last Shabbat. Now, this has nothing to do with this instruction, Because you could apply it if you want to, but I see it differently in this side because every symbol has a different application. Here it says, "Hear, my son, the instruction of your father," which is the discipline of your father, "and despise not the direction," the Torah, which is the teaching, instruction, laws of your mother. Very well. It's not literally speaking about the physical parents. It's talking about the spiritual parents. And in my point of view, the parents, the spiritual parents, in my point of view, is, for example, the Torah was my harsh father, punishing with laws. And my mother, I could say that was the teachings of Yahweh, but when he came to earth as Yeshua. So then, notice that the contrast there is between what the law teaches and what Yeshua taught. There we could apply it as the laws, pure and harsh, and then later the grace and the truth. It says the grace and the truth came with Yeshua HaMashiach. So then you can clearly see it there in that type of symbol. Very well. But you can apply it to whatever husband and wife, however you want. 9. Because adornment of grace will be unto your head and a pendant unto your neck. What does that mean? The adornment of grace on your head, it means, which is the wisdom, because it is singular, the adornment. It's not adornments, but rather in Hebrew, clearly is only one person, singular, an adornment of grace, which is referring to wisdom, because that's what it's talking about, wisdom. And the works, plural, already at your neck, which represent the body. So then when you place wisdom into your mind, it is reflected in your body in works, not in one, but in many. So then, this text, what it says, that the wisdom will be an adornment of grace in your mind, and that it'll be seen reflected in works in your life, in your body. 10. My son, if sinners will to deceive you, I'm studying this for the last time, because from next week and on, we'll advance from this, whether there are questions or not. And we've studied this many times already, but I read it because I love it. I always read it. Here, oh my son, if the sinners want to deceive you, don't consent. This is very clear. When they want to seduce you, I like the way it says in the textual Bible, my son, if the perverts want to seduce you, do not consent. There's always going to be the evil part that Yahweh places in the world here. Always. A part that wants to throw you back. There's a transformer that demands more and more. That transformer, it could be many things. Friendship situations at work, people at school, people that surround you, people which you don't want in your life and they're in your life. That transformer that demands and throws you back and demands more and doesn't let you live your life, it could be these guys that come to recruit you per se. And since this is for the youth, because Solomon focused it for the youth, he said, careful youth, because these friendship come that when you least expect it, you'll be doing the same thing that they do. That's why it's so important for man to choose his friendships. When they see something that is negative, that is dangerous, that is in some sense criminal per se, like gangs, guys that actually are worthless, like drugs, alcohol, any type of things that stupefy and ruin your existence, it's when you have to come out flying from those friendships. Flying. It's better to be alone than to have bad company. Always, always. So then, even if I say this and say that, the youth are going to do whatever they want, but at least the advice that Solomon gives and that I'm giving you is this way. You have to Flee from every friendship that is not profitable. What does it mean to be profitable? That is reciprocal. That there are good advices on their behalf. That you're not just a friend that all he does is to try to better the rest. That's not a friendship. That is not a friendship. When you are the best of them all, and they don't bring anything to the table, you're the only one that has to be taking the people, speaking to them because your friends. Your friends, people that get together with you. But if those people actually are a burden because you are the one in charge of guiding them, carrying them, and your spiritual guide, I tell you, it doesn't work that way. Look for friends to your height that are reciprocal, because sooner or later, what you have fought with those friends, you will become in those friends. You will become those friends. That is all law. It is all law. That is why, in environments that are toxic, don't expect for you to be their savior. It doesn't work in this life now. And even less in the tone of friendship. That is why clearly the text of Solomon says that if these people, sinners, it calls it sinner, bad people, evil people, they want you to be with them, flee from them. Don't try to be their hero, their savior, trying to change them because they'll do drugs, you're going to take the drugs away. No. Because they steal, you're going to take away their bad habits. Because they're a gang, you are going to convert them to what? To Christ? A church? It is very simple. Tell the truth, it's very simple. You should not have one bad friend, just like that, as simple as that. 11. If they were to say, come with us, let us set traps to spill blood. No one's going to say that. They're going to say, hey, we're going to do some things that are convenient. We're going to scam, we're going to rob, and there's like an excitement in the youth. They're like, hey, I tell you because I know the youth, I've gone through that stage. So then it's not, let's set traps to kill. That's just an example. Let us stalk people that are innocent. Yeah, let's be bullies, let's fuck people up, let's jump them, troll them, so then they go into a gang of bullies. That's precisely what he's saying for you not to do. Flee from that. We shall eat them alive like the Sheol, and whole like those that fall into the abyss. We'll find riches of all types. Of course, they say, we're going to do things on the left that sell drugs. We're going to have these types of business on the left. Let's make some money. No. Flee from that. Flee from that. If you want to have a good life, that is within what you can have here. Within what we can have here. Cast your luck with us. They're like, risk it with us. Let us all have loot. It says all the earnings, we're going to put them together and divide them. My son, do not go into their paths. Take your foot away from their paths. That's precisely the advice of the wise men. Do the youth listen to this? Very little, very few, just very few. Because the excitement of being with those people, there is an inexplicable attraction. I could not give you the reason, but in humans, in the nature thereof, in certain human beings, there's an attractiveness of being with people of those type of that class of people that are bad, that could be thieves, drug addicts, that could be just bullies, they could be just people that are lazy, that don't do anything, just speaking stupid shit about women, about sex, but sex in the bad sense of the word, not that dignifying sex, but in the bad sense of the word. That, the youth, it will never bring wisdom to your life. They'll ruin you. You'll end up like them, just like them. So then, it's not just criminals in the literal sense of the word. No, it's all types of bad influences for you. My son, Do not walk in their paths. Take your foot away from their paths, because their feet run towards evil, whatever that evil might be. And they hurry up to go and spill blood, because in vain shall the trap be placed in front of all foul. But they set traps to their own blood. They say it is in vain in front of any bird. What the text says is that, according to Solomon, right, that if the bird sees that you're placing a trap, they're not even going to draw near. It is in vain because they will not fall, according to Solomon, right? I don't know what trap he used, or I understand the concept of it, what he's trying to say, that a bird, even if they're simple and they're not so intelligent, they see that you're putting a trap, they're not going to come like an idiot. You have to set a trap for the bird not to see you. But if she sees you that you're placing something that is dangerous, they're not going to draw near. You have to place it when they don't see the trap. That is what Solomon's saying. So that's in vain will you set the trap in the eyes of all foul. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's the translation. Sometimes they're difficult to understand. So then it says, number 18, but they, in comparison to the birds, they're so stupid, these people are. But they, those of that type of bad seed, bad company, bad friends, but they set trap to their own blood. In their souls they set a snare. Inasmuch, thus are the paths of all who are given to covet. So then now I wake up a word that we've talked about covetry. Covetry is one of the characteristics that are most nefarious of men. It's not the most nefarious, it could be, but it's one of the most nefarious, as it makes the person that is covetous unhappy. Can they change? I would have to tell you that yes, but generally they don't want to change. Generally they don't notice. They don't even analyze the power of how to change. They are the way they are. But if they were to sit down and they would self-analyze like any thinking person and wise person can do, to say, why do I act the way I act? That's all it takes, mind you. It just takes to stop and think, why do I act the way I act? Why do I have these reactions? Why do I feel the way I feel? Just stop and think, but people usually don't think that way. People don't usually self-analyze themselves. They never say, why do I act the way I act? Let's see. I'm going to start to give a list of what I believe, which are the factors that make me act the way I act. Nah. It doesn't even come to their mind. They're like, I am the way that I am, and if I have envy, I have envy, and sometimes I don't even notice that I have envy, and I do. That's the way people think, and they live with envy, and they don't even notice that it's envy, and they live badly. They live because envy eats you up inside. Humans are very odd because there's also the part that even though something causes us pain and anger, sometimes it gives us pleasure at the same time. Don't explain to me why Yahweh made us that way. So then, there are people can say envy, even if they say envy eats you up inside. Let's look for another example. Pain of hate eats you up. For example, a woman, she gets very hurt because her husband cheated on her, went with another girl, and so she feels the hate and the bitterness, and she cries and cries and cries. And years pass, like I've seen people that embitter their existence, and you see them that they're ruined. Okay, but I want you to look further. They feel pleasure in feeling what they feel, or else they wouldn't do it. There is a pleasure of being the victim. It is a pleasure. It is a pleasure that cannot be explained, of that they like something about the pain they feel. It is kind of like, I could apply it in some sort of measure. I don't want you to misunderstand me. Those couples that practice in sex some sort of masochism, they feel pleasure through pain. Because pain and pleasure are very mixed. Very mixed. Sometimes there's no pleasure if there isn't pain first. In many situations, there's no pleasure if I do not make an effort through the pain in the muscle that I'm not willing to do, but I would feel lots of pleasure of looking at myself in the mirror and have enormous muscles. But that pain gives me pleasure. So then pain and pleasure are implicitly united, believe it or not. The pleasure of receiving something and obtaining a title causes you so much pain of study, and that pain of study and practice, heavy practice, pain, headaches. But when you achieved your achievement, it is pleasure. So then many things in human beings, in order to obtain great pleasure, you have to go through great pain. That's the way it is. Don't ask me anymore. Apply it wherever you want. That's the way it is. Great pleasure comes through pain. In everything, in the exercise, in the practice of the sports, everything is difficult. Everything is difficult. In fact, there's the saying, if there's no pain, no gain. But if it costs you, you value it. That's the way it is, or not. But if it's not pain, if it's no effort, then, oh, this was turning off already. It's true that there is no pleasure without pain. Pain is absolutely necessary to originate pleasure. Now, I was talking about these people that live embittered, upset because of life. Do you know that they have pleasure because of it, or else they wouldn't do it? If there wasn't something in them, there's something within that gives them pleasure to feel bad, believe it or not. If you feel that, then you understand what I'm saying. That's the way it is. It is a psychological principle. There are no victims if they don't feel pleasure in feeling like a victim. When they don't feel any more pleasure in being a victim, they're no longer a victim. The thing is that they stay there because they feel an immense pleasure in feeling the ones that are hurt or being. She has a morbid pleasure there. That's why it doesn't cause me any grace to feel for a person that makes himself a victim, none whatsoever. They don't have my compassion because the victim is feeling pleasure and they place themselves in that position because they feel pleasure being a victim. It is clear. I'm not talking about real victims of violation. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people that act as the victim and they act the victim all the time. Oh, I was mistreated. They feel pleasure within. They feel pleasure within. Take that pleasure out and they're no longer a victim. So then, I don't even know how we got to this, but we're here. All paths of everything, of all who covet, all covet, one of the worst defects in humanity, covetry, we're talking about that one can change. Because when you look at the mirror or in your mind, you say, why do I covet? Why do I covet? Because even covetry is a pleasure to covet. Don't think that if it wasn't a pleasure, there would be anyone that would covet. There wouldn't be. It wouldn't exist. All of the defects that we have produce pleasure. Just like that, all of them. Also, stingy people, that produces pleasure. Oh, it produces pleasure. Pleasure, don't think that it causes pain. If it were to cause pain, it's because it causes pleasure afterwards. Do you understand what I'm saying? There has to be a pleasure in order for humans to act in the way they do. There is a hidden pleasure, which they don't even notice, but there is pleasure of being the way we are. Sometimes we don't want to change due to the pleasure that it produces. Envy. Oh, look, what a son of a bitch. How did he buy himself? Then he has that woman and everything does well in his life and they gave him a raise and I didn't get it and I deserve it. Within that person, if it could look like a god, there's something that is producing pleasure. To place himself in that position, believe it or not, that's the way it is. When you discover that, you say, why do I feel this? Oh, because I like to feel the victim. I like that. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it. When you start to react, you start to say, but I don't want to place myself in that situation. when I place myself in that situation, I'm an idiot. I dislike myself. And you start to abandon certain attitudes that you had just by discovering why you did them and if it caused you pleasure. And you'll discover what I'm saying. It even gives pleasure to cry. There are people that are crying all the time. They cry all the time. And then after they cry, they feel, oh, I had to cry. They feel a well-being. There's always a reward, a payment, pleasure, reward. Believe it or not. In every aspect, in mutilation, people mutilate themselves. Why do they do that? Because it hurts? Yeah, it does hurt. Of course it hurts. There are people that hang themselves. They mutilate themselves. But that mutilation, in some point in time of the process, rather than produces pleasure. Or else they wouldn't do it. No one is an idiot of doing something that doesn't produce pleasure. Just for money. There we do all prostitute ourselves. Doesn't produce pleasure, but we have to do it for money. And what is the pleasure? The money we receive. That is the pleasure, so we wouldn't do it. It's all work for something. So then, the more victim that you see the people, there is something that gives them pleasure to be in that position, or else they would come out of that position. I know that maybe you've never thought about this, but it's the way it is. It's the way it is. Okay. It says, so are the paths of those that are given to covetry, which taketh away the life of those who possess it. Those who give themselves into covetry, they ruin their own home completely. But those who reject the payment to do evil shall live. So no matter how much pleasure something gives you, it doesn't take away the fact that it's ruining you. It doesn't take away the fact that it's ruining you. In fact, I'll say things. No, I'm not going to say anything. But the pleasure of being a failure in life, only the people that are a failure feel it, because they feel something. I'm a failure. It's a pleasure in the end of it all, believe it or not. If they look for the reason, they'll find it. Just like that, they'll find it completely. Those people, I'm not nothing. And that's it. That's all I have to say about covetry. Those that give themselves into covetry, it's like drugs. That's what I did want to say. It's like drugs. Drugs, why do people drug themselves knowing that they're going to ruin their life completely, that they can lose their life? Why do they do it? It is for pleasure only. Why does the drunkard get drunk? It's because of pleasure. It's not out of need. It's not because he's about to lose his life. That's why he gets drunk. It's not that he wants to drown all his pain. No, it's the pleasure. It's a pleasure of feeling a sensation that he needs to feel, but it's a pleasure. No one drinks because actually it is disgusting to them to drink something. It causes them pleasure. It causes them pleasure. It's all that's the way it is. Some, even just by being religious, they sin to feel the pleasure of sinning. Because sinning is also a pleasure, sinning religiously. And that then you feel bad and you ask God to forgive you, but in the moment of sinning, it's like an excitement because you know that you're violating the law of God. And I'm speaking to the religious people. And the religious people sometimes sin deliberately because they feel that rush of sinning that they're against, even if it's for a little bit, against the law of God. Why do you think Solomon says that we haven't read yet? Stolen bread tastes better. Why does stolen bread have a better taste? Why? Explain to me why. If I make it, it's delicious. If I eat it, it's delicious. But if I steal it, Solomon says that it's even more delicious. But why? Due to the pleasure of the excitement of breaking the law, of taking the bread away from some other son of a bitch because I'm more macho than that guy that I took it from. Because I was able to take it away, there is a pleasure. And the people, sadly, develop a pleasure of killing people. The assassins, they develop a pleasure of killing because they feel a special rush. And don't even mention the President Netanyahu, our beloved Trump, God bless him, greatly. They feel pleasure. Who wants to have that responsibility? Tell me, what man in his mentality that is normal would he want at 80 years old, like these sons of bitches are, want to have so much responsibility daily? You have to do this, dress up, be in this gathering. They call you, you have to call this other guy, another meeting. Go talk to the press. You can't go along here, you can't go along there. You can't do anything. Mr. President, you have to do this, this, and that. Mr. President, this is the schedule. Mr. President, you have to give a speech. Mr. President, we're bombing this and that. Mr. President, where? Now you have to say that. You have to say, Venezuela's mine. You have to say it 3 times. We won Venezuela over. We're not leaving there until we place a government that I approve. In the meantime, Venezuela is the 51st state of the U.S. What else do I have to say? You have to do this. You have to go have with this minister. I can't stand it. You have to have a dinner with him. I want to go play golf. I want to watch soccer. No, you can't. You have to do this, and that. Do you know how much they come out of prisons that they get so old? You have to be more than an idiot to be a president. They can't come out to the street anymore because the people can't see you. Because they see you, they want to kill you, or they want to take pictures of you, selfies, or for you to write. To sign their shirt. With the money they have, Trump could be playing golf every day of his life, and then tennis that he also likes, and then be with all the women that he would want, because he's a multi-millionaire. So then he could have a whole RM, not just his wife, a whole RM of wives, and then go play golf, and then do whatever the fuck he wants. Because everything can suck a dick. I mean, fighting Trump is a son of a bitch, and that the whole nation is saying, what a son of a bitch, that redhead son of a bitch. See, when he does, you don't think that you feel that pressure, the hate of the people. Netanyahu. His hair that is kind of like corn. Who wants that pressure? There's something that, in my point of view, he would want to come out from there. But God says, you have to rule, That's it, it's over. But there's also pleasure in ruling. Oh, but who would want to rule? Being able to do whatever the fuck you want. He doesn't have to work. He could have pleasure every day of his life, yes or no? He starts to rule in order to be hated. You have to be crazy. Well, but there's pleasure. There's a pleasure in ruling, in governing, being the president. Of everything that we do, there is a hidden pleasure. If you find it and discover it, and you identify it and rationalize it, you'll be able to stop doing things that you didn't do. You'll be able to stop being envious, coveting, stealing, when actually you say, I'm a thief because I like to be a thief. I feel pleasure, but now I'll develop the non-pleasure of being a thief. I'll develop the non-pleasure of taking the money and being stingy. I don't want to give anything. I feel that pleasure, like that guy that Yeshua was telling the story about. That says that guy that put up all his grain. He says, wow, I have everything, all this grain. I'm going to go to sleep. I have food for everything. It's just, how unhappy the guy felt pleasure because he had it put away for him. That pleasure, once you identify it, you can change your attitude. But you have to know that no one's a victim just because there is a pleasure in every aspect of the attitudes that we have. So then, moving on, it says, number 20. Number 20? Yeah, 20.
Ah, no terminó. El
Oh, no, it's
19.
over. 19.
Terminó el capítulo.
Oh, the chapter ended.
Terminó
Oh,
el
the
capítulo.
chapter ended right there. We
Terminó el
ended the
capítulo.
chapter.
No.
Or not.
Ah, no, no.
Oh, no.
Perdón.
Pardon me.
Una cantidad de cosas que ya
There's a whole bunch of
ya
things.
estudiamos lo que es
We've already
avaricia,
studied what
enfocarse en lo
covetry
malo, ya
is,
lo
to
sabemos.
focus on what's evil. We studied that already.
Entonces, leo de vuelta
So
el
then,
19.
I'll read number 19 again. Number 19 says,
Tales son las sendas de todo
so
el que
is the
dado a la
path of everyone that
codicia,
is given
la
unto
cual
covetry,
quita la vida
which
de
taketh
sus
away the life
poseedores.
of those who possess it.
Em,
20.
20.
20.
Ahora,
Now,
es tanto placer.
it's so much pleasure,
Me gustó el tema.
because I like the
vamos a hablar
subject.
sobre
There's lots to talk about this. It's so much pleasure.
el que deja de comer,
The one that stops
como
eating,
las anoréxicas, las
like
bulímicas,
anorexic,
dejan de
bulimic
comer
people,
para una
they
figura,
stop eating to have a figure,
y si comen,
and if they eat,
van y lo
they go
vomitan
and
para que
vomit it
no procesarlo como
so as to not
comida,
process
hasta
it
el
as
punto de
food,
que se
to the
termina
point
muriendo
that
porque
they
el cuerpo
end
no
up
acepta
dying because the
comer.
body doesn't
Pero ¿quién
accept any
produce
food.
eso?
But what produces that?
Tú vas a escuchar diciendo,
You'll listen and hear people say, no, because they told me that she was fat. She looked at her and said, no.
les produce placer.
It produces pleasure.
Produce placer
It
estar
produces
bien
pleasure
con eso.
to be skin and
Hay un
bones.
placer,
There is a pleasure in that.
tal como el que come
Inasmuch as the one that
está obeso
eats,
así.
that is obese like this,
Eso es evidente que no
that's
come
evident that it
con
produces
convicción.
pleasure to it. Yes or no?
Ese te lo van a
I mean,
reconocer.
he'll
¿Por qué
recognize
estás
it.
así?
Why are you like that?
Sí, porque tengo- me
Because
encanta
I
comer.
love to eat.
A mí me
I
encanta
I
comer.
love to eat.
Me encanta comer.
I love to
Y
eat.
encima
To
me
top it
encanta
off,
cocinar y
I love
Leslie
to
cocina
cook, and Leslie cooks
absolutamente
absolutely
fabulosamente bien.
fabulously
Y yo la
delicious,
acompaño.
and I
Y es
accompany her,
difícil.
and it's
Tengo que
difficult.
luchar.
I have
Yo
to
me tengo que
fight.
mentalizar,
I have
no
to
me gusta
mentalize.
comer
I don't like to
porque
eat.
la
Oh,
comida
how
es
nasty.
Es la
Why?
única forma.
It's the only way. Because I love. I'm already tasting.
Los, ¿cómo se llama lo que
What
digo?
What is it called? What I'm making today? The brisket.
Los- hoy con con B, sí, con B larga.
Yeah, the
Hoy se
brisket.
levantó Leslie, eran las 7 de la mañana o las 6.
It was 6, 7 in the morning. She says
Hay un olor a
there's
asado afuera",
such
y
a
estuvo toda la
smell.
noche el olor a
Yeah,
asado.
because I was
Se
making
van
it
a
all
venir-
night.
no, eso
No,
me lo
wait.
dijo a
She
la
told me
1 de
that
la
at 1
mañana.
a.m.
A la 1 de la mañana dice,
At 1
"Van a venir
a.m.
todos los
Says,
coyotes".
all
Y
the
dije, "Bueno,
coyotes are
los
gonna
coyotes
come.
vienen, está bien, los vecinos van acá,
And the
van a
neighbors are
estar
going to
acá".
want to come
Olor
too.
a
Such
asado
a
en todo el vecindario.
smell in all of the neighborhood,
Un olor
such a
riquísimo,
delicious
eso
smell,
inundaba
it would
por todos lados. Así que
flood everything here. So then, yeah,
comer
to eat
es un placer.
is a pleasure.
Comer es un
To
placer.
eat is a pleasure.
Todo es un placer.
It's all a pleasure.
Todo es un placer.
It's all a pleasure. Very well.
Entonces,
So then,
20.
20.
20.
20.
La sabiduría
Wisdom
clama en
cries
las
out in the streets.
alza
She raises
su voz en
her
las
voice
plazas. Eso
in
lo
the
estudiamos,
city squares. We've studied that
porque
already
obviamente
because
que la sabiduría la
obviously
encuentras- la
wisdom
encuentras
is
en todo
found
lado. Hay
everywhere.
sabiduría en
There's
todos
wisdom
lados.
in
Cualquiera te puede enseñar
everywhere.
sabiduría.
Anything
La
can
sabiduría-
teach you
la
wisdom.
sabiduría es
Wisdom
experiencia.
is experience.
No es solamente la sabiduría
It's
de
not
Salomón,
just wisdom of
o la
Solomon
sabiduría que te puedo dar yo.
or the one that I
Esa
could
es
give you.
sabiduría
That is
de alto
wisdom
nivel.
of high
La
level.
sabiduría la
But
vas a
the
aprender
wisdom,
en
you'll learn it
todos lados.
in everywhere.
En donde vayas, en el
Wherever you
trabajo,
go, at
en la
work,
escuela,
and the
con
school,
tus amigos,
with your
aunque
friends,
sean estúpidos,
even if they're
vas a
stupid
aprender
idiots,
sabiduría
you'll
y
learn
vas a aprender
wisdom,
a alejarte
and
cuando
you'll
tengas
learn
que
to
alejarte.
draw away when you
Vas a
have to.
aprender en todos
You'll
lados
learn
aprendes
everywhere
sabiduría, aún
to learn wisdom.
en la universidad. que
Even
en la
in
universidad nosotros
college,
sabemos
and we
que
know
lo
that
que
in
quieren
college all
es
they want to do
programarte
is to
para
program
un
you
solo verso,
for one sole verse,
un solo
university,
que es,
one sole verse,
para que seas un buen soldado
so
en el
you're a
sistema
good soldier
babilónico,
in the
sabemos.
Babylonian
Vas a
system.
aprender sabiduría igual.
You'll learn wisdom
Porque ya un
either way.
sabio
Because a wise
va
person
detectando la
will
sabiduría.
detect the
Vas a aprender
wisdom.
sabiduría en todos
You'll
los
learn
aspectos.
wisdom
Por
in
eso
every
dice,
aspect.
clama
That's what it says,
en
cry out
las calles.
in the
Las calles
streets.
que es
In the streets,
realmente la
which is
sabiduría está para
precisely,
todos.
the wisdom is there for everyone. I'm talking about this wisdom.
Está para todos.
It's for
La gente
everyone.
no la puede escuchar.
But the people can't
No
hear it
puede
because they
comprenderla
cannot
porque Dios no
comprehend
la
it
entiende.
because God doesn't allow it.
Escucha a una barbaridad
They
que
hear
yo
some
digo,
barbarity
no
that I
parece
say,
una barbaridad.
and it sounds like a
No hay
barbarity.
efecto en ella. No hay
There's
efecto,
no
salen-
effect in them.
salen
There's no effect.
horrorizados
They come out of here
día,
horrified
voy a quitar la cobertura y van a
until the
entender
day
que lo
that the
que la
cover can be
sabiduría
taken away. They
clama
can
en la
understand,
calle,
but the
clama en
wisdom
la
cries out in the streets for sure.
clama en YouTube.
On YouTube.
En este momento está
Right
clamando
now, it's
en
crying out on YouTube,
Internet.
online.
Clama en los
Cries
principales
out
lugares
in the
de
main
reunión.
places of gathering. I've already told you everywhere.
En las entradas de las puertas de la ciudad.
In the
dice
entrances
sus
of the
razones.
gates,
En
it
todos
gives its
lados
reasons
hay
everywhere there is wisdom.
Les dije, que
I've told
vamos a
you
aprender mucha
that we can
sabiduría
learn
de-
much wisdom from
Uno
soccer.
dice, "El fútbol es
It
una
says soccer is
porquería,
dog
es un
shit.
deporte que no
It's
sirve
a
para nada,
sport
ni
that
se
is
va a
no
practicar,
good.
ni
It's
se
not
va
even
después,
going
no
to be
sabemos".
practiced later. We don't
No
know.
importa.
Doesn't
Pero
matter.
mientras tanto,
But in the
hay
meantime,
sabiduría.
there is wisdom.
Muchas cosas podemos aprender.
Many things
del
we can
fútbol,
learn from
muchísimas.
soccer. Lots
Puedo
of
aprender
things.
muchas cosas
Like
de
I've learned
otras
so many
cantidades.
things from a whole bunch of other
Yo
things.
sabiduría encontré en las
I
religiones.
found wisdom in
Donde vaya
religions.
encontré
Wherever I go, I
Yo
found
encontré
wisdom.
sabiduría
I found
muy
wisdom,
buena en el
very good
cristianismo,
wisdom in Christianity.
no en la religión que ellos
Not in the
enseñan,
religion that
pero
they
hay
teach,
cosas que
but there are things which you
pues la
learn.
sabiduría está en
Because
todos
wisdom
lados.
is
Está,
everywhere.
no es
It's
parte de un
not
solo individuo.
just a part of one
La
individual.
sabiduría
Wisdom
realmente nos
actually
rodea por todos
surrounds
lados.
us
Encontramos
everywhere.
sabiduría
We find
en
wisdom
la naturaleza.
in nature.
Encontramos
We
sabiduría
find wisdom
en el Talmud.
in the Talmud.
Encontramos
We
sabiduría
find wisdom.
absolutamente,
Absolutely.
no hay que para la menor duda.
Don't doubt about it.
Entonces, por más que yo
So
diga que
then,
todo es
even
una
if I say that
mierda,
it's all dog
en
shit,
toda esa mierda
in all that
hay
dog
sabiduría.
shit, there's wisdom.
¿Hasta cuándo?
Until when?
O simples,
Oh,
amaréis la
simples,
simpleza,
wilt thou love
y los
simplicity,
burladores
and the
desearán el
mockers
burlar,
will wish to
y los
mock,
insensatos
and the
aborrecerán
fools
la
will
ciencia.
abhor science.
En realidad,
Actually,
dice otras palabras, dice
it uses
saber,
different words.
inteligencia,
It says knowledge, intelligence, and
conocimiento.
to
Los
know.
simples amaréis el saber.
The simples will know
¿Hasta
to
cuándo
know.
los simples amaréis
Until
la
when will
simpleza en
all
vez del
ye
saber?
simple love
Los
simplicity,
burladores
and the
desearán el
scoffers would want to
burlar en
mock
vez de la inteligencia.
instead of intelligence?
Esto lo leo en
I'll read
la
this
Nueva
in the
Traducción
New
Viviente.
Living
Proverbios
Translation,
1:22.
Proverbs 120.
Simplones,
Simpletons. It's a simpletons. Simpletons.
simplones,
How long
¿hasta cuándo?
will you insist on
Insistirán
being
en su ignorancia.
simple-minded?
Vírgenes.
Virgins.
Estamos
That'd be good.
así.
Virgins.
Vírgenes. ¿Hasta cuándo
How
insistirán en
long
su
will you
virginidad?
insist in being a virgin?
Burlones. ¿Hasta
Oh,
cuándo
mockers.
disfrutarán
How
de
long
sus
will you
burlas?
mockers relish your mocking?
Necios.
How long
¿Hasta
will you
cuándo
fools hate
odiarán el
knowledge?
saber? ¿Por qué dice esto
Why
el
does the
sabio?
wise man says this?
Porque la sabiduría
Because
se
wisdom
encuentra
is found
en todos
everywhere.
lados. Aún cuando miro
Even
una
when you
película,
watch a
veces encuentro
movie,
sabiduría.
you
Sí
find
sé
wisdom
dónde
if you know
buscar.
where to look.
Sí, sí. Mientras más
The
sabio
wiser you
eres,
are,
más
the more you
reconoces
recognize
sabiduría
wisdom,
y la
and you
sacas
draw it
de la
from the
paja
hay which
la
surrounds it.
y
And you
sacas
draw
frases,
phrases, you
sacas,
draw
eh,
certain
ciertas
situations,
situaciones,
you draw certain
ciertas, conocimientos
knowledges
de
of
algo.
things. It is
Es
pure
sabiduría
wisdom,
pura,
and you
y la
draw it
sacas de-
by
separando
separating
la
the
paja
hay
del
from the
trigo.
grain.
Eh,
23.
23. Volveos
Turn
a mi
ye
reprensión.
unto my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit
Derramaré
unto
mi
you.
espíritu sobre vosotros.
I will
Y
make
os
you
haré saber
make my
mi
words known unto you.
Acá está
Wisdom
hablando de la
speaking to you, that
sabiduría
is personified, since
personal,
they
de
speak to you,
que habla.
Solomon speaking to you
Salomón te está hablando
through the
a
word.
través de
I'm
las
speaking to
palabras,
you.
estoy hablando acá.
It
Entonces
says,
dice,
turn
volveos a
ye
mi
unto
reprensión.
my reproof. What is that? My discourse of everything which we've been talking about.
Venimos hablando.
Behold,
He aquí
I
yo
will pour out
derramaré
my
mi
spirit upon
espíritu
you.
sobre vosotros.
That is when
Eso
you
es
listen
cuando
to a
tú
person.
escuchas a una persona.
That is exactly
Eso
what
es
we talked
exactamente
about
lo que hablamos
when
de cuando
of how
cómo
Eve was
Eva
formed
fue
from
formada
Adam.
de Adán.
Eve
Eva
was
fue
formed
formada
with the
con
spirit of
el
Adam.
espíritu de Adán.
No spirit came from elsewhere.
De otro
God
lado,
did
de
not
otro
breathe on her.
lado.
So then,
Entonces,
Eve,
Eva
which is the
es
figure
la figura
of the Messiah, the
del
feminine
Mesías femenino,
Messiah, didn't
no
have
tenía un espíritu
their own spirit. That
que le
was
servía para
to
ser
be
Eva.
Eve.
No,
No, she obtained it from
obtuvo
Adam.
de
She
Adán.
obtained that spirit from Adam.
Lo
Obtained it
obtuvo
from
de
Adam.
Adán.
And what is
¿Qué
the
es el
spirit?
espíritu?
In this case, it
En
is
este caso
wisdom,
es la sabiduría,
science,
la ciencia,
understanding things. In this
en
case,
este caso
that's
es.
where it is. So then,
Entonces,
notice what wisdom
fíjense lo que
says.
dice la sabiduría.
Turn ye
Volveos
unto
a
my
mi
reproof.
reprensión,
Behold,
he aquí yo
I shall
derramaré
pour out my
mi
spirit
espíritu
upon you.
sobre ustedes.
I will pour out my
Derramaré
spirit
mi
upon you,
espíritu sobre ustedes.
and will
Y os
make
haré
known
saber
my words unto you.
palabras.
Look at the way it says in the
Miren
Spanish
cómo dice la Dios
DHH.
habla
I'm
hoy,
not sure if it helps or
ustedes
not.
más o menos.
Proverbs
Proverbios
123.
1:23,
Pay attention to
presten
my
atención a mis
corrections,
correcciones,
and
y
I
yo
will
los
fill you
colmaré
with my
del
spirit.
espíritu.
But what does it mean
Pero
to fill
es
you with my
colmarlos
spirit?
de mi
It is
espíritu,
my way of
forma de
thinking.
pensar,
Because
porque
It is the idea
es la idea
of forming
de
Eve.
formar a Eva. Había que
You have
darle
to
una
give
ayuda idónea,
Adam
idónea.
help meet, not just any help, not a fourth class wife, not a
No una
wife that was going to
esposa
be
que iba a
fighting
hacer
with
una
Adam. No,
pelea con Adán, no.
help
Una
meet
ayuda
to his
idónea a la
height.
altura de Adán.
And she was
Y
formed
fue
with the
formada
spirit
con el espíritu
and the
y la
matter of
materia
Adam.
de Adán.
So then,
Entonces,
here wisdom is
acá la
speaking and
sabiduría
is
está
saying,
hablando y
Behold,
dice,
I
he
shall
aquí
pour out my
yo
spirit,
derramaré mi espíritu
or I shall fill you with my
formaré
spirit,
de mi espíritu,
and will
y
make
os
you
haré
know my
conocer mis
thoughts,
pensamientos,
or
o
will
les
make
haré
you know
saber
my
mis
words. That
palabras.
is what it
Eso
is.
es
But
la
the figure
escritura
of what we studied the other day, 24.
24.
And here,
Y acá,
this
esto yo,
many,
mucho
I really don't want to
no me da
explain
ganas
it because
explicarlo, porque
it makes not much sense, but I'll read it
pero se
either
lo
way.
haré
It's
igual.
kind of like
Es como
wisdom
que la sabiduría,
to those
aquellas
people
personas
that
que
have
no
not wanted to
quisieron
listen to the
escuchar la
reproof,
reprensión,
that really
que no
didn't want to
quisieron
be filled with
ser
the spirit
colmadas con el
of reproof.
espíritu de la sabiduría,
It says that
dice
he's
que
going
se
to
va a
laugh
reír
at
de
them
ellos, se
and
va a
mock
burlar
them
cuando
when all
venga
their
toda
destruction
la
comes at them.
destrucción.
That's why
Por eso,
it's kind of
pero
like,
es como,
look,
mira,
I don't
a
even
todos
like
suenan las
threats.
amenazas.
As this
Y esto
sounds like a
suena,
threat
esto es una amenaza.
of those people
De
that
aquella
don't listen
persona
to
que no
wisdom.
escuche
That's why I
la
don't like it.
sabiduría. Por eso no me gusta.
And because it's
Y
not
porque
like
no es
that
del todo así.
altogether. Because the
Porque
people
las
that
personas
don't
que no
listen
escuchen
to
la
wisdom
sabiduría
now
ahora es porque
is
no
because
tenían
they
que
didn't
escucharla
have to listen to
ahora.
it now and they
Y
were
se
lost
perdieron de ser
from being a part
parte
of the
del
Messiah. I
Mesías.
don't believe that.
Yo no creo
I don't
eso.
believe that. It doesn't
No
work in my
creo,
mind
no
that way.
funciona mi mente.
The people
Las personas
that are not a part
que
of the
no sean
Messiah,
parte
it
del
is because
Mesías,
they were never going to
porque
be a
ellos
part of the
no son
Messiah.
parte del Mesías.
That's the way it is.
Es así.
So then, it's not that they
Entonces, no
were,
es que se
they
perdieron
lost
nada.
the chance and they would have been if only they weren't so stubborn. No,
Necias,
no, no, no.
no,
No,
no
they didn't have to be.
tenían que ser.
You'll be
Serás
what you must
lo
be,
que debas ser.
or you won't be
Si no serás
anything.
nada,
It's not applied here.
no se aplica acá.
You'll be
Serás lo
what
que
you shall
debas ser.
be. And yes, if you shouldn't be, you won't be anything. That's all right there. But it's not that you were lost because you were stubborn. No. Here comes the reprehension. What happens to those that don't listen to the wisdom? I completely disagree. In this case, applying it to the eternal truth. But I do agree that when one does not listen to the wise reprehension that speaks to you everywhere, not just here, but everywhere, yeah, things don't go well for you. Completely ill. He said, don't do this. Don't leave her pregnant. You have to learn what sex is to not leave her pregnant. Use all the techniques possible, and you don't do it, you will go badly. When you say study, use your time wisely, and you don't do so, then don't cry later when you have to work in a job where they don't pay you that much. When they say you have to learn to invest money or make a better effort or look for something better or to have a more open mind to obtain something else, and you don't do it, don't cry later. That's the way it is. In that aspect, I do agree with what I'll read. The consequences of not studying, of not accepting wisdom are these. But it happens to everyone. It could happen to us. When we read the manual of a car that says, do not add diesel, and I go and add diesel because it's cheaper, then I'm going to pay the consequences because of an idiot. Those are the consequences. For I have called and you refuse to hear. I stretched out my hand and no one regarded. But ye have set out not all my counsel and would none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. For that they hated knowledge, and did not choose the fear of Yahweh, which was the fear of Yahweh? What was it? To abhor evil. And they didn't choose to abhor evil. In other words, they loved evil, and what they abhorred was good. They would none of my counsel, they despised all my reproof. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own devices. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. In the Spanish DHH, this text is very good. It says that those who are inexperienced, their inexperience kills them. Those who are inexperienced are killed by their own inexperience. With everything we talked about, the inexperienced, the virgins, are killed. What kills them? Their inexperience. And the stubborn are destroyed by their unwariness. 33. But whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from fear of evil. And you get inheritance. The text ended, number 1. I'm not going to repeat it again. We've done so during 48 chapters. I don't think all the chapter. Now we'll move on to the next chapter 2. But you could ask yourself, yet whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from fear of evil. You could say, that's not possible. No matter how much you listen to wisdom and you're wise, this world which is unstable, which is unfair, which is dog shit, and that everything, death is waiting for all of us, is running behind us. The greater we are, until it touches us, this is your it, and you die. So then why does wisdom, why is it going to take away the fear of evil? If fear, we all fear. You can ask yourself. Now I'll answer it, but I'll read it in a different version. Jerusalem 2001. But whoso hearkeneth unto me shall live safely without any fear of disgrace. This cleared it up even more. Without any fear of disgrace. Spanish DHH. But he that pays attention to me shall live at peace, and without fear of any danger. Interesting. The Torres Amat says, same text. Yet he that listeneth unto me shall rest exempt from all fear, and shall swim in the abundance freely of all evil. This is in the abundance thereof he that heareth wisdom. Okay. The answer is simple. When you listen to wisdom, what you can obtain as the maximum expression of wisdom is not to fear, not to fear, not to be afraid. Not of evil, not of good, not to be afraid. The worst thing that we have as enemies is fear. Fear of what will happen. The fear of that I'm going to die. Fear of the unknown. Fear of God. The fear. If you're wise, you have no fear. Because you could care less whether you live today and tomorrow or the next minute you die. You could care less. You could care less. Because you're already wise in yourself. You're not afraid. The only thing that we should be fearful of is to be ignorant. That is what we should be afraid of, to be ignorant. But wisdom is of a stable person. They have no fear. No fear of not having a job, not fear of what the future will bring. They don't have fear. They have confidence because they're wise. A wise person has no fear of what tomorrow will bring. They have no fear, none. Because wisdom in itself is more valuable than gold, and pearls more valuable than that. That's why the text says, yet whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely, doesn't fear anything, and shall be quiet from fear of evil. Evil exists? Of course it does. Could evil get to you? Of course. But we have no fear. when everyone lives terrified by evil. They're afraid that they get sick, they are afraid that something happens, they're afraid of losing their job, they're afraid of whatever, they're afraid that the husband abandons her, or that they don't get married, afraid of so many things. The wise man doesn't fear anything. Fear is a factor that starts to reduce. It exists, starts to reduce them. That's why I'll read the other versions and you'll understand it even more. But he that listeneth unto me, listens to wisdom, shall live securely, quiet, not with stress. What is stress? Stress is a situation in which you place all of your energy to achieve something and it eats you up. You live with stress. Implicitly, the word is the energy being spent. When I'm giving stress to a piece, it's because I'm pressing it, moving it, wearing it out. When you're in repose, there's no stress. So stress is movement. When you say I'm stressed, it's just you're working, stressed, walking. That is what stress is. And if you physically see it quietly, what you have stress is your mind. How am I going to pay for this? How am I going to do that? I can't do that. I can't. That is contrary to a wise person. A wise person is quiet. Anything can suck a dick. Why? Because they know everything. And they know who they are. And they know what they can do. And they have confidence. That is what a wise man is. That's why it says, he that hearkeneth shall dwell safely, quietly, without any fear. Could disgrace come? Let disgrace come. I don't fear it. I don't fear it. It's the contrary of the cat story. That was going to look for the cat that needed, was saying they're not going to let me borrow it. Nobody loans me anything. What a son of a bitch. And the existence was ruined. He was stressed. The level was going up. That is the problem. That is the problem. Fear. Fear has us imprisoned in what we are. Fear is contrary to wisdom. A wise man does not fear evil. A wise man does not fear evil. That's why it says in the Spanish DH, but he that pays attention unto me shall live at peace. What else do the people want than to live at peace? And without any fear of any danger, without fear of any danger, not that danger won't come. It's not saying, and he knows that never will danger come and touch him. No. Not at the very least. It's not saying that. It's saying that he doesn't have any fear that danger comes. He has no fear that whatever may come, come. Let whatever come, come. And throw upwards, like the song says, throw upward, like the song. Let whatever may come, we throw upwards. We have no fear. We have no fear. And that is how Proverbs chapter 1 ends. Psalms 78, 1 through 2, New Living Translation. All my people, listen unto my teachings. Open your ears unto what I say, because I shall speak to you through means of a parable. I'll teach you hidden lessons of our past. I'd like to wish you, every one of you, all of the listeners, followers, friends, signees, non-signees, whoever's listening right now, or those who listen later, a very blessed year 2026. We're entering in 2026. It is a year that points towards being even worse than the rest. Because all the years that have come have been worse than the next in every aspect. Look at what's happening between the wars, the price of things. But I wish you all the contrary. I wish you a year not just blessed, but prosperous. Prosperous economically. Prosperous in wisdom, which
May you obtain whatever your heart desires. May you achieve the wisdom of not fearing anything, not to fear anything. That you get to the wisdom of not trying, not even communicating nor thinking, nor asking anything of God the Creator. That you may comprehend on a permanent basis that all of humanity rests upon us, upon our mission. I was going to say fate, but you weren't going to understand in English. Of our mission, our destiny. The entire world rests under our destiny, our fate. Nobody that's the savior of this world worships God because he's a good God or just. No one. They will still condemning the world and all the people. The only chance that this world has, it's of people that understand the plan of creation. They'll comprehend the way in which the Creator acted and has acted, and that rejects entirely that type of government and wants a different government. That's why even use the title of God of Justice, something which does not, God the Creator does not have that title. The same God Creator says, you are the God of justice, the Elohim of justice. So then, in this 2026, we have to be incorporating this in our mind, in our spirit. You have to be filled with these words, and that actually they enter your heart, and that they become flesh there. That you're not going around saying or asking nor crying because you need what you've always done by praying and pleading to God. No, we are the God of this earth. We are it. Let us live now, whether we die. We're still God's. We have no fear of anything. We have no fear of anything because there's life in ourselves. Of course, you might say, you can't prove it. Doesn't matter whether I can prove it or not. Because of the title that we have, because of the position that we live, there is life in ourselves. So then we shouldn't fear to even die. We shouldn't even fear dying because there is life, eternal life in us, and there is power of resurrecting in us. So then, with that in mind, start to lose all the fear towards evil. And the rest of the people are afraid, terrified of evil, not us. And how does it start? The effect of taking that out. By believing what I am telling you, that we're God, that we have life in ourselves. And if we were to die by experience, we have power to resurrect ourselves. If you believe what I'm telling you, aside from obtaining that power that I'm telling you, aside from that, you have no more fear. You have no more fear. The other point for 2026 is that we stop judging people due to the religious criteria and the cultural criteria of how much is a person worth, a man or a woman, according to what they've done. Let's stop judging them, because we shouldn't just not judge them, but stop to evaluate what this world has valued them as. And aside from that, to place in our heart whether you are a part of this, and you don't support with your blessing the one that gives you these words, then little by little you'll be turning off, because it is what all of us makes us one. I give you, and you give me the blessing to be able to continue, and that'll be eternal. It'll be eternal. But if there's no circle like that, of those who have the heart closed and they feel pleasure in not giving, there's a pleasure in not giving. There's a pleasure in saying, I received it for free. Thank you. The other guy paid for it, and I have it free. It's the same pleasure of eating stolen bread.
And stolen bread clearly is a symbol also of this information, which is a bread of life. And the stolen bread means to feel pleasure of obtaining an information and not being capable of giving. And literally, you stole it. Because even though if it's free, if you're a part of this, you feel that you have to give a part of you. And if you don't give, it's stolen bread. Absolutely. So then in 2026, stop to think about your defects. Why do you act the way you act? Why do you yell when you yell? Why do you get upset when you get upset? Why don't you give when you should give? Why? Place all the list of details that you have, but don't look at it like you've always looked at it. Oh, I have to change. I don't know why I do that. No, no. Stop to think. What are the emotions that make you do that? And you'll discover that there is a pleasure. When you identify it, maybe it stops being a pleasure because you identified it. It's not hidden, nor do we notice. The victim doesn't notice the pleasure they feel of crying and, oh, me, me, me. There's a pleasure within. They don't see it because they don't stop to think about it, but it exists. Once you understand that, you can start to eliminate things. For this 2026, because that's why we have to do something better in our lives. Because we have a long way before us to wait. So then, these are the things that you have to put down, your defects, and actually be one with the eternal truth. This is a team. This is a ministry that in order to be a part thereof, you have to be an associate. And not just any associate, an active associate. Both. That it actually be yours. Because being an active associate is that you're an owner of this truth. In order to be an owner of this truth, you have to place your investment. It's as simple as that. And I'm speaking to those who are stingy, who feel that pleasure with the stolen bread. We are those crazies. Do you know it, my friends? We're crazy because we think that there is an eternal justice that is called to rule the world. We are crazy because we think that all men are born equal and free. The same in religion, in politics, they have the right and uniform duties at the eyes of heaven. We are crazy because we think that women are not valued whether she's a virgin or not. Same as man. We're crazy. Because we think that the kingdom of reason will come someday, and it's already here. That's why we're crazy. And if that's why we're crazy, I am filled with pride. We are crazy because we don't thank God for anything. In fact, we're crazy because we blame God for everything. We're crazy because we don't ask God for anything. We're crazy because we demand that God return to us what He took from us and to fulfill His word. And that's why I am filled with pride of being crazy, and that way I am ennobled with the insanity of believing the way I believe. What beautiful words. I am ennobled with believing with the insanity of the believing the way I believe. That a sepulchre is dug out for our tyrants, and that liberty, the eternal truth, cometh, and that the reign of the people, which are the Elohim of justice, draweth nigh, that a great epoch will begin. A flower is born every day the sun comes out. Every now and then you hear that voice. as of a delicious bread, delicious to sing in the balconies of the mind along with the cicadas. But in turn, a transformer exists, which could be anything in your life, that consumes you, consumes the best of you, throws you back,
tira atrás,
demands more
más
and more,
y más.
and there comes a point where you no longer want to. Suck at the liberty's breast, the liberty, the eternal liberty. Suck at the eternal truth's breast. You will always carry her within the heart. They may corrupt you. You may even forget, but this teaching will always be there, whether all that have left or are here. This teaching marks you forever. Yesterday I had a dream with the hungries, the crazies, those who left, those who are in prison. Today I awoke singing this song, which has been written time ago. It is necessary to sing it once again, one more time. I ask myself, how many times have you heard this song? Not just listen to me when I tell it to you. Listen to it yourself. An absolute genius. This song must be replacing some of the psalms. Some of the psalms are absolutely no good. This song should be there. How many times have you listened to it? Listen to it. It's impressive to listen to it from the voice of Charlie Garcia. Semper Fi. Before I forget, Semper Fi. The destiny is written. The end is inevitable. God, the true God, is Argentinian. Let the laurels be eternal that we knew had to achieve. Crowned with glory, let us live, or we swear, without any fear whatsoever, with glory to die. Let's go the eternal truth. On behalf of Leslie, Angelina, Brian, Christian, and Mikal, that's also speaking desperately, and Sophie, we wish you, no, it was Mikal speaking, but we added Sophie, Rooney, Matza, Kuromi, and everything. There's no more bugs, right? The chickens. The chickens. How beautiful the chickens. How beautiful the chickens that you gave me sing. Very beautiful. There's one, they gave me 6 chickens, but one sings, singing all week. That's good. I hope that there was some time that it was prohibited to have any cocks here, but there was one that was actually a rooster that sings. Even the chicken that sings like a rooster. And on behalf of all of us, we wish you the greatest and most abundant blessings to each and every one of you. For you that is listening to me, for you this year, for every one of you, for every one of you. On behalf of all of us, the greatest of all the blessings for you, in an individual way. Those who are here, those who listen to me over there, every one of you, that you may feel the hug from us, and that in this 2026 you may experience a change. That is to be better, but be a blessed year, not blessed by God, blessed by the eternal truth. Hallelujah to every one of you. We shall meet again next Shabbat. Don't forget to give us a blessing by giving us a like and writing your comment. We shall meet again next Shabbat. Hallelujah to every one of you. Hallelujah.